The Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. You only win a Super Bowl 2 times every 5 years, right? Oh!
The warm-up act is over. Let's bring in Melissa Etheridge, massive Chiefs fan. Melissa.
Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
He picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score!
And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs. All right, welcome into the Arrowhead Addict podcast, live on Radio Row. Patrick Allen and Sterling Holmes here with you, and we got a really special guest to kick things off today, Marcus Spears.
What's up, fellas?
Man?
How y'all doing, man?
By.
Appreciate it.
And you're bearing gifts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The best
Absolutely.
guest.
Well, man, I don't talk about food on shows because it's just a thing to do. I actually do it. So my partner's Louisiana Fish Fry. We created a chicken sandwich and a chicken fry, so we popped it open. And you can it's actually something in there. It's not a prop bag.
Oh, baby.
It's a real sandwich in there. I brought one because I didn't want you guys to go to sleep for the rest of the day.
Okay, you gonna take a bite of that?
I'm getting dibs. I'm getting dibs.
like
At lunch, I'm just saying.
I'm bringing it up to
Go
the
ahead and
camera.
change your life.
I'm letting people know how good this is.
By the way, this is my creation. This is the way I eat a chicken sandwich.
So you came up with this? It's your own recipe?
Yeah, so a little bit.
Yeah.
Louisiana Fish Fry has been a company forever, but we majored in making fish fry.
Okay.
So I hunt fish. I grew up doing it.
Yeah.
But the fish fry. So when we partnered, I was like, why don't we make a chicken fry? And because chicken sandwiches are my favorite sandwich.
Yeah.
Some people like burgers. Some people like chicken sandwiches are my favorite. So I was like, let's create something where I can kind of get back to my home base. And they obliged, and we put together.
Yo.
Yeah.
Good?
Yo.
So this is something you can make, like, you can buy this and then you can do it at home?
Yep. We are in every store you could imagine. It's easy. We give you instructions on the back of the box of how to do it. And then you just do it to your liking. Like, some people.
We haven't ate all day. This is the best thing I've had. I don't care. We're in Vegas. I've had some pretty damn good food. This is it right here.
So yeah, man. Y'all know Louisiana. We major in hospitality. We major in food. I'm a foodie, so it only made sense. But man, they legitimately. I know a lot of people gonna come over here and promote their products. This is a true staple of who I was before I ever got a check from them.
Gotcha.
So it means a lot to me, man. I'm glad y'all enjoying that sandwich.
It's legitimately good.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic.
I went back for seconds.
So Marcus, I watch you on TV all the time, and I've just personally have never heard this story. How did you get the nickname Swagoo?
Okay. So I started at SEC Network, and we had a show called SEC Nation, and I worked with the great Joe Tessitore, right? And everybody knows Joe, either from boxing or college football. And I was a big guy and loved to dress. I love fashion. But I was walking on set. We were in South Carolina. And he was like, bro, you dripping Swagoo. I was like, what? And Joe is Italian, right? So he was like, I'm going to call you Swagoo. That's going to be your nickname. Because I nickname everybody. So everybody was trying to find one for me.
Okay.
And I really nickname people a truth moment because I can't remember names that well. I remember the nicknames, though.
Yeah.
So when he named it, it took off, bro. Everybody started calling me. People were making signs behind our set. And then everybody at ESPN. And then, once Stephen A. says something and calls you something.
That's it.
It's like the dude is a walking, I call him the male Oprah. If he promotes something, it's going to sell. So, yeah, that's how it started, man. But I always think of nicknames as a term of endearment. It disarms people. It tells them that, hey, man, I know you. I got respect for what you do. Yeah. We get enough. I'm sure y'all know. We get enough. Hey, Marcus.
Yeah, right. Well,
but if you call me Swaggle, we rock with each other.
You work with Mina Kimes a lot. What's
Yeah.
your nickname for her?
MK.
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 That's a good one.
MK. I do a lot of initials.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know Mina's name. We spend a lot of time together. And arguably, my favorite person on earth
Really?
outside of my family.
She seems. I've never had the pleasure of meeting her in person, but I love watching her analysis. She's great on TV.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Looks like somebody you want to hang out with.
Truly humble, bro.
Yeah.
Like, y'all know we in a business where people like to use humble as a way to gain.
Yeah.
She's truly humble. Like, all of this is a blur for Mina. She like, I can't believe I'm like on TV and I talk football. You know what I'm saying? She's my sister, man. We got a post today. I love her, man. She just had a baby, Nino. I can't wait to meet him. So I do this segment on NFL Live called Big Man Ballin', BMB, and I highlight all of the big dudes that make great plays from that previous week.
Yeah.
So Nino, her son, and Laura Rutledge, who I call Boogie,
Okay.
her son Jack, they both, they fat babies, which we love fat babies. So right now they are the representation of baby BMBs. Okay. Yeah. So she got Nino and Boogie got Jack, and they baby BMBs, man. But I love both of them tremendously. Mina is just she the truth, man.
Yeah.
She the truth.
The Chiefs' defensive line, to me, this season has been very underrated. The Chiefs' defense as a whole has been very underrated. Why don't you think they get the respect they deserve? And also, I think Steve Spagnuolo is a mastermind back there. What have you seen from him?
Because Pat Mahomes is the quarterback, to answer your first question. Right? Everything is going to be underrated when we looking at what we witnessing with him. Nah, I love that question, man, because a lot of times we get so far away from the substance of football because we live in this generation of everybody talking about it, media outlets. So a lot of times, like, that's what we really take pride in on NFL Live is we get into the nuts and bolts of football, and we talk about, like, coverages and why this effective, why this thing has affected the game. I think what has happened with the Chiefs defense and Steve Spagnuolo, more importantly, they had to be this good.
Yeah.
They knew that it was going to be some growing pains. They knew that they were young on that side of the ball. And they knew also that the game was – we've gotten back to kind of a physical run game NFL. You know what I'm saying? So Spags has always been phenomenal in the playoffs with pressuring and bringing these disguises and these blitzes and trying to create big plays and doing things like that. I think Karlaftis has been – way better than people have if you pay attention to it.
Yes.
And, because we get enamored with sacks and numbers, the way he defends the run, a rookie being able to drop in coverage and understand leverage, being the answer to losing Frank Clark, who was highly productive in the playoffs, to now his 2.5 sacks through 2 games. Like, dude, that type of stuff is what championships are made of. If Chris Jones didn't play for the Chiefs, they wouldn't have 2 Super Bowls.
Nope.
He's made plays to actually affect the game.
Yes.
Pushing Deion Dawkins into Josh Allen and making that throw a miss is why they here.
And that goes to your point here. Again, when I get sometimes frustrated, I'm sure you more than others, everyone always talks about sacks. And you're sitting here going, that wasn't a sack. It doesn't show up in the box score, but he single-handedly affected that play.
Absolutely.
How do you think the average fan should start looking at football to try to get a better understanding of this?
So football is about space, right? The game evolved to this big spread out open field thing because offensive coordinators were like, if we create space and we can get them in favorable, if we got a linebacker matched up on Tyreek Hill, that's such an advantage. We're going to try to create that, right? And we give credit to Kyle Shanahan because he's been one of the best at doing it. We give credit to Ben Johnson did it phenomenal in Detroit this year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Andy and what he's been able to create. I'll give you a perfect example of what you're talking about. The game plan specific approach to Buffalo was we are going to get Travis Kelce matched up on A.J. Klein.
Yes.
You are missing Milano. You just lost Bernard. We're going to see if your third string linebacker can come up one of the greatest tight ends to ever play. And then the following week, I'm going to keep you away from Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make Kyle Hamilton – I'm going to make what everybody thinks is a great matchup I'm going to make them see if it is a great matchup. So a lot of that type of stuff happens in football. But from a defensive perspective, man, like, look at space. If you always see George Karlaftis close, if you see quarterbacks having to move off of spots, that's affecting the game. It's been the fight I've been fighting for Jadeveon Clowney his whole career, bro.
Yes.
Yep.
We don't think he's a good football player because he don't have 25 sacks. And I get a lot of that comes along with being the first overall pick.
Sure.
And the play against Michigan where he just become this phenomenon. The man has been affecting so many games for so long and making game-changing type play. But we don't pay attention to it because at the end of the year we don't see 15 and 20 sacks. There's one anomaly to that. Well, two. TJ Watt figures out how to get 20 a year, but also affect the game every other way.
Yeah.
And Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
This is a down year for Aaron Donald, who has 8 sacks and 1,000 pressures. So the game can be affected more than what they read in the box score. It's like Dennis Rodman. Dennis never averaged 20. His teams don't win championships without him.
Yeah.
Speaking of a guy who was good at getting to the quarterback, I just realized today is the 24th anniversary of the death of Derek Thomas.
Oh, my God, bro.
We talk about pass rushers. Peter Schrager was talking about it on Good Morning Football today. It's Super Bowl 58. That was obviously Derek's number. Talk to us a little bit about what he did to the game when he was out there.
We were cheated. We were cheated from having a real conversation if Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defender to ever play, because we lost DT early. I was young. I was a super fan of him. Him, Reggie White, and Bruce Smith were the reason I watched football.
Yeah.
I think he would have arguably been the greatest edge rusher of all time, but I think he could have been the greatest defensive player of all time. And that's saying a lot, bro, because I hold Lawrence Taylor like deity status when it comes to football. But when you just, the first step, think about Derek Thomas playing in the NFL now. The ball get off. Like, these are the things that I look at. The ability to get after the quarterback, but not only like pass rush moves, bro, you can't even get your hands on me.
Right.
So I think we were cheated, but we saw a glimpse of what greatness looks like. And, you know, obviously, I mean, Kansas City has had Neil Smith. Y'all have had Chris Jones is the next one.
Yeah, Tamba Hali was a good one.
Tamba Hali. But Derek Thomas, I think, y'all would have had to put him in a different room.
Yeah.
And he probably still is in a different room.
Oh, he is in Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It is Derek Thomas. And you might have, as far as Stevens, Bobby Bell,
Right.
Lanier, the guys that came before him.
Exactly.
But
if we would have got a 12, 13-year career.
Yeah.
7 sacks in one game. Still has the record for that one.
And I tell people all the time when they bring that up, that was going to happen again. A 7-sack game for him was going to happen again, unless you was just telling your quarterback throw it out of bounds every time.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Chiefs' struggles earlier on this season, especially offensively, now I know it's been a whole joke like we've been hoodwinked, we've been bamboozled. All of a sudden they get to the
bringing
playoffs,
out Stephen A.
And they're sitting here like, oh, we're golden. We've been playing the whole time. I don't know if it's that easy. You talk to a lot of former players, obviously. There's nothing to it. But, again, there's a little bit of rumblings of there is another level you can get to if you've been there before. Maybe during the regular season, you go out of bounds instead of trying to get the extra couple yards. Maybe over the middle as a receiver, you alligator arm it in the playoffs. That's not going to happen.
Right.
What have you seen the Chiefs' transformation into this? Again, they are who they are.
So, this is the first year I had real concerns. The drops concerned me, but more so than the drops, it felt like there was no clear identity. They were trying to identify number one wide receiver. I think Rasheed has kind of ascended to that. They were trying to figure out how to get Travis to be Travis of old, which I don't think Travis is Travis of old anymore. I think you got to create opportunities for him to have success. That ain't a bad thing. He's been playing for 100 years, right? Like, that athleticism at some point, you're not going to have the same. But what has happened is when you really know the foundation of who you are, you go back to it because that's what you lean on to in hard times. Travis is going to lead the way. We're going to figure out how to get him open.
Yep.
Andy went back to the board and was like, yo, I don't give a damn what happens. We going to lose feeding Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And, he's hit another gear. Bro, Travis, I love Travis. That's my guy. Y'all know we got a great relationship. He wasn't great this year by his standards. He's been great the past 2 weeks, though.
That's all that matters now.
And now, to your question, that's because of familiarity. Like, Travis is like, I got to be this for us to win a Super Bowl, so you know what? I'm going to go be this.
Yeah.
And it's up to Andy to make sure that he puts him in them situations. And, dog, bro, we saw a tight end dominate a defense that was historical in Baltimore. I thought Baltimore was going to win the game. Like, because if you had a pulse and you watched the last 5 weeks of the NFL season, that team had to beat themselves to lose a game.
Yes.
But the Chiefs had Mahomes and Kelce.
That's the X factor. Your team is telling us that you got to go feed some more hungry people.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you coming
Trying
by.
to save the
This
world,
is
man.
Fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Check it out. Thank you, man.
Man,
It's
this
been
was
an honor
fun,
to meet you,
man.
too.
The Chief
Yeah.
Fry
Fun.
Officer, baby.
Yes, sir. You know it. All right, man. Take care.
Thank you,
Hey,
Marcus.
thanks, Marcus.
Marcus Spears.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat this. Leave this real quick. No, I'm not kidding. I'm eating this later. If you think I'm not gonna eat this, I don't care that Patrick took a bite after I did.
Bro, I'm dying out here. I didn't get any lunch.
Oh, do you want some more of this?
No, it's good. It's good. I'm just saying.
We'll put it right here for now. That is really good.
Absolutely fantastic. Man, Marcus is awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
I love watching him on TV. He's so infectious. He's got such an infectious personality. He knows ball. He's just really great to listen to talk to about sports. It was really cool. I didn't have a note down here to ask him about DT, but when he started talking about pass rushers and stuff, I was like, I got to ask this guy about Derek Thomas. And the way he lit up talking about Derek was really cool.
He was one of my favorite interviews so far over the past few days because it was so insightful.
Right.
You learn so much. And again, that's why I think I always joke about like an offensive line fantasy football league. But I also want to do something to where you get defensive players more loves and we don't just view them by sacks and interceptions. Now I think the Pro Bowl has turned into that. Like we saw, again, Trayvon Diggs is a very good cornerback, but you got burned a lot. Like there's two ways to get it done. L'Jarius Sneed doesn't get a lot of interceptions, right? I think that sometimes gets held against him in these elite cornerback conversations, but he's not getting interceptions because people aren't throwing at him. So, like, same thing when it goes back to Jadeveon Clowney. You are drafted 1-1, so that comes with these certain expectations. Same time, he has been so good, so solid for so long, but because, as he mentioned, he doesn't consistently have 15 sack seasons.
Right.
He's not thrown in that category. There is way more to football, especially being a defensive end, than just sacks. For the longest time, I've been a big proponent of we need to look more at the bigger picture and not get just enamored by guys who pin their earbacks. Those guys are important, but without the other guys, those guys aren't allowed to pin their earbacks and go after the quarterback.
Yeah, and you said it, man. I mean, like, look at Trent McDuffie this year. He makes the All-Pro team, and I think he deserved to. But then you get L'Jarius Sneed not even making the Pro Bowl. What was the big difference? Trent McDuffie had some turnover plays. Turnover plays in prime time. Get your name on the radar. These guys that are voting for this stuff, they're not sitting down watching the All-22, how L'Jarius Sneed's locking guys down, not giving up any touchdowns. And I think you're absolutely right. These guys make a big difference in the game. And Marcus pointed out, that play that Chris Jones made that made Josh Allen rush that throw would have been a touchdown if he had time. It's not in the box score. It was the most important play of the entire game. It's not in the box score. So I think you're absolutely right. And that's why guys like George Karlaftis, who gets a share of sacks. But I mean, he gets a lot of pressures. And I feel like, I know sacks are the sexy stat.
Yeah.
But really, I'm looking at pressures. Like, how many times did this guy get pressure on the quarterback? That's going to be a better indicator for you than just the sack number.
Sure, and again, not all pressures are created equally. There's no great way of doing it. I think, again, PFF has tried. I still think there's room for them to grow. Again, I like PFF when it helps my case. I'm gonna disparage it when it goes against me.
Sure,
We know
sure.
how this goes.
Yeah.
But end of the day, I think that's what they were trying to do, and there's still going to be work because I think everyone views the game a little differently. And as Justin Reed has pointed out, and other guys around the NFL have pointed out, J.J. Watt's pointed this out. Unless you're on the field, unless you're the coordinator who called the play, you don't always know that guy's responsibility.
Yes.
Sometimes it might look like a guy messed up. In reality, it was someone else, and he gets put in the spotlight. Completely not that guy's fault.
Yeah.
But he takes the blame. And again, other guy's probably going to come out and say, yo, that's on me. But that comes down to, again, we don't always know the full picture.
So we got Jamar Chase coming up. It might be a little awkward. I don't know. He doesn't like the Chiefs.
I've interviewed him a couple times now. I'll let you get some in here now. I've had my
What questions doesn't he like that I shouldn't ask him?
No, but again, end of the day, he's a guy who believes in himself and the Bengals. Let's be real now. A little different, but like when Travis Kelce, he doesn't do it really anymore, would hype up himself. No one said a word. You like it when it's for your team.
Yeah.
You hate it when it's against your team.
Sure.
Now I think Max Crosby is actually the perfect example of doing it in a way that's very easy to root for.
Sure.
Right? Like I think Max Crosby again, he's a guy when he talks trash, you're like, there's these underlying undulations of
It's like a wink.
respect.
Yeah.
But and again, at the end of the day, I like the rivalry. You like guys that stir the pot. It makes it that much sweeter when you beat them. It really does.
I watch a lot of Jamar Chase. I've got him on one of my fantasy teams. The team's name is Chase Jam, and he's been remarkably consistent for me, even dealing with injuries. So it's going to be really interesting to talk to him. The Bengals had kind of a tough season, obviously losing Joe Burrow. So we had that matchup late. I mean, can you imagine what that matchup would have been if Burrow had been healthy?
Yeah.
Late in the season?
Nuts.
As he joins us now, Jamar Chase, working with Sleep Number. How you doing,
What's up,
man?
Jamar? How you doing, man? I love the tracksuit. That's
Thank you.
fresh right there.
It is great, man.
Came comfortable, brother.
I'm glad the tracksuit's coming back.
Well, if you would be comfy, you go Sleep Number, right?
Yeah.
What you got rocking with Sleep Number?
Yeah, so I'm here today partnering up with Sleep Number. As you all know, it's 80% of athletes and NFL players with Sleep Number right now. And they do a fantastic job with just helping us with giving us sleep numbers. By sleep numbers, I mean the sleep schedule times, the amount of numbers we sleep, how much time we sleep, how good we sleep. And they actually set me up with a Sleep Number doctor to give me pointers on ways I could sleep better and probably have better performances. And with that being said, I think that's one way that I think can accelerate my game to be better. And, that's my first time actually going to take this step forward and actually listen and, give myself a scheduled sleep time this year and, see where it takes me.
Yeah.
It's part of that recovery process, right? You work so hard day in and day out to get yourself ready to handle the brutal NFL. You need to sleep, you need to recover as well. How do you guys do that, with the Bengals? Like when you go on the road and you're sleeping in hotel rooms, like you don't have I'm not bring my pillow with you guy. Yeah, you do bring your pillow with you. Like how do you make sure you get a good night's sleep when you're out on the road?
Yeah, so for the most part, I feel like, I got to get my sleep in those 3 days, man, and that's on my Sleep Number, honestly. Honestly, when I was in college, my receiver coach told me the best day to sleep is 2 days before the game, and I think that's Friday. So that's actually the day before we leave. So Friday is the day that I try to get as much sleep as possible on the Sleep Number.
So for me, I thought you grew a ton as a wide receiver this year. When T. Higgins went down, teams were focused entirely on you, and you still had over, 100 receptions, over 1,200 yards. And again, you were the focal point the entire season. I saw the Bengals trying to use you in different ways to get you involved. They used you out of the backfield a few times, trying to get you on some swing routes, stuff like that, get you some good matchups.
Yeah.
What was this like for you this season? And did you feel like you grew as a wide receiver?
Yeah, I felt like I grow every year as a receiver. Not just me getting the offensive down, but understanding what read I am and how I can run my route differently now. So, I mean, it comes into play in many different ways. And honestly, it can only get better from here the way they're using me, And when T went down, I had no choice but to step up and play that role.
Yeah.
Now, teams do their best to stop you. Most of them are not very successful. They're just trying to slow you down as much as they can. You've played both the 49ers and the Chiefs this year. How did those guys try to attack you and slow you down in the games you played against them?
I feel like both teams do a real good job of being disciplined on their base game plan of the player. So like basically like I mean by that by like schemes. Like they do real good with schemes on players. You know, Casey does a good job on scheming on me sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And 49ers, I feel like they have one of the best. Let's see. Basically, like they're the most. God damn, can't get the word out. Can't get the word out.
Scheme?
Nah.
Versatile?
Nah.
No.
Discipline. Thank you.
Discipline.
Jeez, took me a while to get discipline out, but yeah, I feel like 49ers are one of the most disciplined teams. You know what I'm saying, defensive wise. So that's why.
You know, obviously a lot of teams try and double cover you. What does that feel like as a player? Obviously, you get the respect that it takes two dudes to cover you, but also at some point you're like, well, what can I do? How can I try and make an impact in the game? Yeah, and honestly, my first 3 years, you know, I have been getting a better understanding of that part of Cincinnati using me, and you know, I actually told them like move me around more, and they listened, and you know they actually came to me and asked me what do I want to be moved, where, and how, and you know I really appreciate Zach and Callahan for giving me opportunities to come talk to me and ask me what I like and what I don't like, because that gives me an opportunity to step ahead on how they can use me. Yeah. So that's a good communication by the staff.
Now you guys have an intense rivalry with the Chiefs. They've gotten the better of you. You've gotten the better of them. I know you're confident in yourself and your Bengals. And I know you don't like the Chiefs, and that's good. Good, healthy rivalry. But what's one thing about the Chiefs that you respect?
That they don't quit, man. And it's always a tough game, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if they double teaming us, you know, me trying to get the ball, they always going to fight, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I like playing them, because they know they're going to get our best and we're going to get their best.
So I actually am a huge fan of a little bit of back and forth, right? I think that's what makes the NFL so great. It's why everyone loved the Pacers and the Knicks rivalry in the NBA back in the day, right? Reggie Miller, the whole fourth quarter show. Like, I loved a little bit of the game within the game. Again, you have that. Is that something that you use as motivation for yourself to try and get under the opponent's skin, but also for you, is that motivation for yourself?
Yeah, honestly, that's just me. I just do that to have fun, man, since I'm still young. I feel like as an athlete, man, playing in different sports, trash talking is a lot, you know, and playing sports. I feel like, you know, we don't just play the game and just sit there and not say nothing all day, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, you know, talking trash to one another is just getting the better out of somebody else, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah, you should see me in my men's league basketball games. I'm washed up, but I'm still talking smack.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just getting the better out of somebody. And, you know, if you're a trash talker like me, then it's just fun to do it.
Yeah.
When you're playing the Chiefs and that defense is out there, who's talking the most trash? Who's jawing the most?
Snead, of course. Everyone know me and Snead had a little throwdown. So, you know, Snead the only one that's going to go back and forth with me.
Yeah.
With Joe Burrow going down this year, what was that like having to transition again to a new quarterback? As a wide receiver, what differences? Obviously, they're different quarterbacks, but as a wide receiver, what do you have to do differently with a new quarterback in there?
Honestly, I just had to adjust to my quarterback. And by that, I mean the plays that we ran, we changed it up a little bit, you know, diced it up a little bit. So it was just me getting the timing down. That was the biggest thing, me getting the timing down from Joe to Jake. And then the deep ball differences on timing too. So, I mean, just different ways on how we use Jake. Jake wasn't always in shotgun like Joe, so that was it.
How are you trying to get T. Higgins back? I know you guys have have a nice little partnership before. I know you guys are really close.
Yeah.
You played basketball, I think, a little bit together every once in a while. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Are you trying to convince him to stay in Cincy?
I'm not trying to convince him to stay, even though, I mean, he knows I want him to stay at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? We've had this talk multiple times already. But, man, I'm not going to control T's destiny, bro. I want the best for him, man. At the end of the day, if you're a brother, you want that for one another. And at the end of the day, it's NFL, man. It's not going to go your way, and he has no control over that right now. Neither do I do. So it's just going to have to go be in God's hands at the end of the day.
You're one of the best wide receivers on the planet, so you're obviously really good at that. If you had to play a secondary position in the NFL, what would it be?
I got asked this question earlier, bro, and I didn't want to play running back no more because I didn't feel like getting hit no more as much, you know what I'm saying? already get hit as much now. Cats don't like when I get the ball in my hand, so they be trying to take my head off. So I can just imagine if I play running back.
Yeah.
Do you know Luther Burden at all, the Mizzou wide receiver?
Not really.
Not really?
Not
okay.
really.
I always liken his game to yours. I'm a Mizzou alum, so that's why.
Okay.
I just think he has a lot of his game in yours, and so I wanted to see if you had any insight to that. But no, I get it.
I mean, nowadays it's hard for me to watch college now because they play on. Well, I only watch them on like that Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, I don't really know him yet.
What was that like on that college team? It was so good for you. You were the guy back then. You've always been the guy, I guess. What is it like having that? Is it pressure on you to always perform? Is it just, it is what it is? How have you been able to handle that?
At the end of the day, man, when you're an athlete, man, I feel like you've had pressure as a kid in high school and AAU games, you know what I'm saying? And that's where your pressure holds itself at and stays at. And once you get to the league, become a pro, I feel like, there is no pressure. It's just your game, and, you got to be comfortable. It's like you got drafted to do this, so that what pressure is there for you?
Yeah.
Cool. Is there a wide receiver that you really admired growing up and maybe you modeled your game after?
Yeah, it was Des Bryant. I was actually a big Des Bryant fan back then, man. And
he caught it, right?
Des caught Green Bay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He caught it. You know what I'm saying? And that was the only person that I really watched a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I watched a couple other cats like Corey Coleman and stuff. So, but Des Bryant was the one person I always watched.
As far as the week leading up to this Super Bowl, just in the playoffs in general, how much different is it for you as a player compared to the regular season? Because I've always wondered just the mindset, obviously, but also the waiting game. You have all these media events that you have to do, obviously, when you're in it. How does that change your schedule? Does it get you off kilter at all?
Yeah, so I feel like this side for me is more of a business side. You know what I'm saying? When I'm off the field in Vegas now for the Super Bowl, it's more of a business side for me, more of me, getting new connections, building a platform for myself, putting myself out there.
Yeah.
So it's all about, giving myself more exposure at the end of the day.
Yeah. You've obviously been in the Super Bowl before. Guys came up a little bit short. How much does that fuel you to get back here and finish the job?
Yeah, I mean, it fuels me a lot, bro. Just having an opportunity to say I've been there my rookie year, and we beat one of the best quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm literally most hated for some things. So, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, it's an opportunity. It's a blessing and a curse, So, I can't be mad at nothing.
With Joe Burrow obviously getting healthy and coming back next year, does that make this offseason you want it to go by quicker? Because you're just sitting here going, I want to get back out there. My guy's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we did last time when we were together and healthy. Are you even more excited for next season?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. But I honestly I wish I could tell the future, man. I feel like this year is just going to be so crazy just because it's everyone's contract year. I have an opportunity. TBs might be leaving, so it's a lot going on, not just for the Bengals, just for the whole NFL, I feel like.
Yeah.
And, I wish I could tell the future right now, but we just going to take our time and let Joe get healthy first and let everything just take its way.
Awesome.
You played both these teams this year. You guys beat the 49ers. You lost to the Chiefs. Obviously, you didn't have Burrow in that game, although Browning played great. Which team's better and who's going to win on Sunday?
It's a tricky question, bro, because I honestly can say they both have great offenses and defenses, man. Like I said, 49ers give me a disciplined side of defense, and Kansas City give me more of a good scheme defense. You know what I'm saying? They scheme against a player. They scheme against the actual playmaker, and I think that's how they make plays and stop it. But I'm going to just go 49ers by a field goal.
Love it. Jamar Chase, dude, really appreciate it, man. Good luck next
Thank
year.
you. Yeah.
Excited to see what everything holds for you.
Yes, sir.
Good talking to you again, man.
Yeah.
A couple times you've done it now. You're always fun, always entertaining.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Thank y'all.
Take care, Jamar. Good
right.
luck next year. Cincinnati Bengals star wide receiver Jamar Chase. Look, okay. Chiefs fans, I know, maybe not your favorite player. He's a competitor, but really great to talk to. Insightful guy, interesting. And
I like Jamar a lot. I know this is not a popular take in Chiefs Kingdom, right? I like Jamar a lot, and I'm not saying I agree with all the comments he makes, but if you like the rivalries between the Knicks and the Pacers back in the day, you're being hypocritical if you don't like what he does to help with the Chiefs. And by the way, let's be real now. It obviously fires up Mahomes and a lot of the Chiefs players too. So it's a two-way street. It gives motivation for Kansas City, but also it keeps the rivalry alive and well. Again, you don't want all buddy-buddy.
No.
You have to have a villain.
And
You
he
have to have a
mentioned it,
heel.
right? He mentioned why he does it. He thinks it's fun. He has a good time talking a little bit of trash. He doesn't, one thing he said I thought was really interesting. He said, like, I'm still young. Like, he doesn't want to, he wants to enjoy playing the game, not just being on the field, but the whole process of it, being confident in himself, stirring things up a little bit, having a little bit of fun with it. I mean, all of us, couch quarterbacks, and we get on Twitter and we talk trash to the opposing fan bases. We talk trash to the guys in our fantasy football league. It's the same thing. When you're competing in something, it's fun to give it a little bit to other people.
Some questions and some comments on the chat right here. I see you. We're not though going to take ringless shots at guys. We will never get those guys back on, and we like to keep our jobs. Patrick, I like keeping mine. Okay. We want to be respectful, but we do understand. I did find it was very, very interesting and entertaining. Very entertaining and interesting. He talked about the Chiefs' scheme, right? Because we've talked about Spagnuolo all season long and what a great job he's done. And then honestly, hearing it from Jamar saying, the scheme, the game plan they had against me and the Bengals was top notch. I mean, I think that right there gives a lot of credence to how good of a job Spagnuolo's done all season long.
Yeah, and he talked about that they want to try to take away the playmaker. And we know that Spags has done a good job of that. He tries to take away Jamar Chase. He'll try to take away Stephon Diggs. And as a Chiefs fan, that's the one thing that makes me nervous about this game against the 49ers is they have several really devastating playmakers on the field. CMC, I'm guessing, is going to be the primary target there. But you've got Kittle.
Yeah.
You've got Ayuk. You've got Deebo Samuel. I mean, I know Chiefs fans are really confident about these games, but these guys are loaded. And you could take away CMC, but then Deebo can hit you for a huge play. So they're really explosive. That's my biggest concern going into this one. What I do know about Brock Purdy is he gets on that back foot, and he's a timing guy. And so I think rather than maybe just try to take away one player from the 49ers, what Spagnuolo might try to do is confuse Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of zone, blitz a corner, make him think he sees, and we've seen the Chiefs do that this year, make him think he sees one thing and then show him something else. I think that's the best case scenario for the Chiefs because you just can't take away all these guys. You can't just be like, all right, we're just going to take away CMC. But when the 49ers are throwing the football, if they can make Brock Purdy hitch, that's where they're going to have an advantage in this one. It's all about that Shanahan offense. 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom, right?
I would have to agree, although I will say, talking with a couple other guys, I don't know if you were actually on with me when we talked to Drew Brees and Kurt Warner. Very interesting getting their thoughts on Brock Purdy. Basically, a lot of it is, especially a lot of former Matt Ryan, same thing. We talked to Matt Ryan. All those guys have an immense amount of respect for Brock Purdy and all think that what he is doing is at times being underrated. And it's a lot of the same thought process that I've had. It's like, what do you want me to do? He's doing everything he's asked of
in the Super Bowl
because it might not look like Josh Allen. And Drew Brees brought that up too because he was an undersized guy. Kurt Warner, he mentioned was bagging groceries before because it looks different. Doesn't matter. The end of the day, all you need is the results. Right. And Brock Purdy so far this season, well, he's gotten the results. I did find it very interesting with Jamar. Talking about next year, he was a little bit of a. Because I actually think the Bengals are going to be great next year, even if they lose T. Higgins. You saw what happened. They found a way to get him involved. I was actually very impressed with Jamar and what he was able to do this year when he was the guy and there was no second option.
Yeah.
He stepped up and made all the plays still. I was very impressed by that. It took a few games, but then once they figured it out, they moved him around. As you mentioned, Zach Taylor. I'm just sitting here going, even if T. Higgins leaves the Bengals, that's still going to be a very good team. But he was a little bit of non-committal. He was more reserved in regards to the hype surrounding the Bengals going into next year.
Yeah, look, he knows that there's a lot of changes coming, and change is scary, and you don't know how things are going to play out. But look, as long as they've got Joe Burrow, that dude can ball. They're going to be able to win games. They started off slow last year. They started to figure it out, and then he got hurt. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think it's going to be a fascinating. The AFC, Lamar is going to be back. Josh Allen. It's just going to continue to be a dogfight year. And now you got Harbaugh coming to the Chargers, so now we got to deal with somebody who might be able to competently coach Justin Herbert. So there's a lot for the Chiefs to be dealing with. By the way, you're watching the Arrowhead Addict podcast live from Radio Row. If you are new here, subscribe to the YouTube channel. What are you doing? We came all the way to Las Vegas to the Super Bowl for you guys. Make sure you hit that like button.
I flew on a middle seat and stuck on a tarmac for an hour.
And his back's been killing him all week.
My back is killing me. My feet look grotesque. I walked the strip in shoes that I wore for the first time in my life. It was a horrendous decision, but I am doing this for you guys. I went to the U2 concert at the Sphere last night. I am exhausted. I am dead. Yet here I am giving it my all. We have 3 more hours.
Just 3 more hours live.
Talk to me in 3 more hours. We'll see. My motor is insatiable. I am George Karlaftis. I don't know why I'm trying to go off on a Mike Tyson rant. My back is broken. I broke my back. Spinal.
I was so tired I went to bed at 8 o'clock last night. I ate some dinner and I just laid down and passed out. And we've got Orlando Brown. What's up?
What's going on, fellas?
How you doing?
Yes, sir. Doing great, man. That's a nice watch.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. No problem at all.
You got quite the fit here going on.
Appreciate
Talk
it,
me
man.
through this. What's this hanging off your hip here?
Oh, yeah. This is just my good luck charm, man. I kind of always keep this on me. It's a little Gucci top, some Ralph Lauren pants.
I love
Vans on my feet.
Love it. Love it.
You just take off one item of clothing, I can pay off my mortgage. Welcome, Orlando Brown Jr., former Chief, former Raven, now with the Bengals.
Yep.
Who are you here working with?
Man, I mean, I feel like I'm here for so many different things. Really, man, just, wanna. It's my first time really ever experiencing it like this. Normally I'm a player that's playing in the game.
Good feeling, though.
Or, I'm a young guy that's kind of still, learning the ropes. And it's my first time here. So really just wanted to come experience it, man. See some new faces, talk to some good people.
We actually just had Jamar Chase, your teammate on before you.
Yeah.
Man, just for you this season, it was obviously a different year for you, right? You're now a Cincinnati Bengal.
Yep.
You got T. Higgins, you got Jamar Chase, you got Joe Burrow. Expectations sky high. Joe Burrow gets injured, then T. Higgins gets injured.
Yep.
And talking with Jamar, the first couple games, he had to figure out how the offense was going to use him. What was it like having such a up and down season as a team just as a whole?
Yeah, that's the thing about football, man. You kind of prepare for that mentally. Even in the worst way in terms of losing your quarterback. And I know I do as a pro. And, it wasn't necessarily a shock. It's always ups and downs. But it's hard. The NFL is hard, period. And it's hard to win. It's hard to, be a playoff level team and a championship level team. But, I think we did a really good job fighting through adversity, man. Finishing above 500. I think Jake Browning did a great job coming in and doing his job and playing his role. Guys like Jamar stepped up when they needed to. Joe Mix. Chase Brown, our offensive line, man, fingers could be pointed to so many people as to why we were able to keep a positive mindset and move forward.
So you've played with 3 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yes,
man.
absolutely.
Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow.
Yep.
How are each of those guys different as leaders?
Man, in so many different ways because of their backgrounds. You've got Pat Mahomes, who is the Texas gunslinger that grew up in a household, around sports and baseball and basketball and football. And, he's obsessed with all of those different things. And, his parents are, a certain way. So he's got a certain way of leading. And, he does a great job of being vocal and leading by example as well. And then you've got guys like Lamar Jackson, who born and raised in Broward County, Florida, somewhat of a different personality, but he always is going to get the best out of you. He's always going to get the best out of the team, and that Lamar's going to give it his all every time that he's out there.
Yeah,
and then you got Joe Burrow, man, who, this guy's different. And, I think it's one of the reasons you were able to see this Cincinnati organization turn around so quickly when he came into the league because of his mindset and his approach to things. And he's played the quarterback position. His dad was a coach, so he has a really neat intel into what it takes.
How does your philosophy change as a tackle as far as what you try to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mahomes likes to drift around. He has a little bit typical deeper drop back.
Yep.
You know, Lamar's a little different. You were on the right side there for the majority, and then you played a little bit of left as well.
Yep.
But he's going to be a guy who might get it and then just take off right away.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's more of the traditional pocket passer. As an offensive lineman, how do you adjust to this?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of things that vary too, man. I like the way you put it, you know, in terms of drops, systems and schemes, route concepts, which is one of the reasons Pat, you know, normally takes a deeper drop because they run a lot of deep concepts. Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, how football works. But for me, man, I try to keep my game. You know, I'm not a guy that's going to lean on his athleticism. I honestly don't have much there. But,
more
you
than
know,
us. You're doing okay. You're doing better than us.
Touche. But, you know, I feel like, man, it's something that I kind of learned coming in the league. I started off blocking for Joe Flacco, who you knew where he was going to be in every single depth. You knew that every drop he was going to be right here. He wasn't moving off that spot. You got to keep this guy away from it. And, you know, I don't mind it. You know, I don't mind the deep drops with Pat because of concepts and everything like that. Yeah, man, I mean, honestly, I love winning. and I'll accommodate my game however need be.
Was one of them easier to block for because of their presence in the pocket?
Gosh, man, I mean, you know, naturally you're going to say the most athletic, dynamic guy, Lamar Jackson, just because, I mean, what can't he do, you know, with the football, man, in his hands? And, you know, not taking credit away from any of my other guys, but
I don't even know if he needs a lot.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, we could say that too. I mean, I might agree with that statement too, man. He's one of the special ones.
Yeah. You've been beloved in the locker room everywhere you've gone.
Yeah.
You've been ingrained. I mean, you look at Cincinnati's social media, Kansas City's social media. You have there with the mics going around.
Yep.
Why does everyone gravitate towards you? Because you are a leader everywhere you've gone, even if you haven't been there very long.
Yeah, well, you know, my offensive line coach in Kansas City gave a story one day, and he talked about Paul Revere and the British are coming. And there was another guy that said the British are coming, but this guy didn't move anyone. And my coach said, I'm Paul Revere, and I'm the glue guy. And so that just kind of always stuck with me in terms of, you know, who I am as a teammate and a person in the locker room, because it takes all of us to be successful. You know, it takes 100% commitment from me, others, you know, me doing my best to get the best out of everyone in there, you know, no matter if they're a practice squad guy or a role player. So. Okay,
so you played with the Chiefs. You know this roster well.
Yep.
Who's a player on the Chiefs right now that doesn't get enough credit for how good he is?
Gosh, man, I feel like as far as accolades, L'Jarius Sneed is at the top of my list.
Yeah.
I always felt that way about Mooney Ward as well. That's in San Francisco for the 49ers. I always felt like he was another guy that didn't get a ton of credit either. But on that roster right now, man, that's not necessarily decorated. I like L'Jarius Sneed for that. Jerick McKinnon as well. Yeah, those are my two people at the top of my list that I think are important pieces for them and really super impactful personalities as well.
Was it ever hard for you? We have a lot of Chiefs fans here, and you know Chiefs fans can be very, very passionate.
Oh, big time. Very passionate.
Chiefs Kingdom. But was it ever hard for you as a player when you went to Cincinnati and you're sitting here going, it's a business decision? I think the majority of people understood why you did what you did, right?
Yep.
But is it ever hard when you're like, guys, you want to just be like, there's nothing personal here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that ever hard for you?
No, honestly, it was very hard for me to leave Baltimore.
Okay.
You know, that was an organization that gave my family an opportunity. It was an organization that really allowed me to, you know, be myself, man, gave me the opportunity after the combine and all those different things. And, you know, the relationship Steve Bisciotti had with my father, Ozzie Newsome had with my father and myself, it was a lot of deep intertwined love and passion and all of those things there, man. That's one of the reasons that they drafted me in the third round. And it was very hard for me to separate that. It was hard for them as well. You know, those were conversations that we had to have. And, you know, it was very hard to separate that. As far as the transition from Kansas City to Cincinnati, not that I was excited to get out of Kansas City, but that's normally how the business goes, man. When they tagged me, I didn't sign the extension that was on the table. You know, I just kind of understood, you know, that'd be my last time there.
Yeah.
Sure. So a guy you played next to in Kansas City, Joe Thuney, has a pec injury.
Yep.
He's probably not going to be able to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
How good of a job do you think Nick Allegretti is going to be able to do stepping into that starting role for this?
Oh
game?
yeah, man. Nick Allegretti is there's a reason he's been there for the last 5 years. I mean, this is a guy that's very committed. You know, I talk about being committed. He loves the game. He loves offensive line play. He's got a wrestling background. You know, so it comes natural to him. But man, I got a lot of faith in Nick, and he's done it. You know, he showed up for them over the years when they need him at right guard, left guard. I know he's played a little center as well. So man, I think he'll be able to step up and like he did last week. I mean, play his tail off.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you also, by the way, getting here when you did. I know it's been a little bit of a whirlwind.
Oh, it's
here.
all good, man.
It's been a little difficult.
It's all good.
Do you have a score prediction? I know you got more stuff to do. Do you have a score prediction in this game?
Man, hard to say score prediction, but I do think the Kansas City Chiefs win this game, man. We're talking about Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, Chris Jones in the heat of the moment in Super Bowl in Las Vegas. This is home to them, man. They're going to do this. So.
Orlando Brown Jr., I appreciate you a whole bunch. I appreciate what you do as well as the you champion as well as diabetes as well. You know what I'm saying? Like you're very good on and off the field.
Yeah.
It's really cool, man. I love the work you do with diabetes as well.
Thank you so much, man. You know, it's a cause that hits home for me. Just my dad passed of ketoacidosis when I was 15. My brother was diagnosed at 8 years old. I was 9 at the time. So it's just a cause that really hits home, man. And it's important for people to understand that, you know, you can have it, you can live with it and flourish.
Yeah. Orlando, you're pretty good on the mic. You thinking about media?
It just depends. It just depends, man. I'm worried about football right now, to be honest with you. But hey, when it arises, you guys let me know if FanSided's got opportunity for it.
So. Got a future in.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Good luck next year as well.
Orlando Brown Jr., former Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs, and now a Cincinnati Bengal. You know, that's the first time I got a chance to talk to Orlando. That was awesome. He's great.
He's a really good dude.
Alexander Mattison. What's up, man?
Alexander Mattison right now.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
Sir?
I'm blessed. I'm doing good.
You're out here at the Super Bowl. Are you working with anybody today? What are you, what are you doing?
Yeah. So I'm here with LVIII, partnered with my brand I Am Gifted, and trying to spread the love and positivity and emphasize mental health awareness.
I love seeing all the Vikings around here as well. KJ Osborne stopped by.
Yeah.
You got a whole squad out here, huh?
Yeah. I heard. Look, I didn't even know. I heard Kirk was out here walking around.
Really?
So
Oh, is he?
I got to try and find him.
So he got the chain on?
Yeah. No. I don't know if he has a chain on, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Right.
As far as this season, this had to be a pretty fun year for you, right? Dalvin Cook's now gone. You're now the bell cow. You're now the guy. What was that transition like for you and just your excitement level to start the season?
It was different. I mean, it's one of those things, you know, it comes with a lot of pressure, comes with a lot of eyes on you. You know, the spotlight is on you, and good or bad, the people are going to find a way to tear you down, man. And so that was new for me this year, dealing with stuff like that. You know, it's like you can't do any good sometimes, especially when everyone's struggling. You know, we had the season where the spotlight wasn't just on one player, but it was on a lot of different players, and a lot of different hate was thrown around. And, you know, it's just one of those things you have to deal with, one of those things you have to find a way to get through. But, you know, it's adversity, and that's what the name of this game is getting through that. And so it was an amazing experience for me to be in a position where I can affect the game and be a leader to the guys in the running back room. And, you know, definitely came with a lot, but I definitely feel a lot better going into this season, going into this off season with that year under my belt in that position. Yeah.
So obviously you mentioned Kirk Cousins had an unfortunate injury this year. It was very unfortunate for me because I traded for him in a fantasy league the week before.
Oh, man.
But let him know I believe in him. What's something about Kirk Cousins? Obviously, he was in the documentary, too, and I think a lot of people got their eyes open to how good of a guy and how likable Kirk is. But what's something about him that maybe people don't know that would surprise them?
Maybe they're not surprised now, but he's funny. He has a unique sense of humor that is just like, you can't help but laugh, because I would probably say it's probably the closest you're going to get to, like, the definition of dad jokes.
Okay.
Is when Kirk Cousins cracks the joke. And, he's just an awesome guy. I mean, you were able to see it in the documentary, but I've said it since I got in the league. He is the guy that you would put down on a paper if you were going to say, like, ideal human being, you would write Kirk Cousins' name.
Wow. That's high praise. My wife's actually 6 months pregnant with our first, so I'm going to need you to connect me with Kirk. Because I've been warming up some of my dad jokes here on Radio Row, but I don't think I'm quite there
They've
yet.
not landed. They've not been good.
They're not supposed to land. They're not supposed to land.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You laugh at the jokes because they don't land, and a lot of Kirk's they don't land, but it's just hilarious. The attempt is hilarious.
Yeah. As far as next season, how excited are you? You have another year in your contract. You're going to be a Minnesota Viking. Justin Jefferson healthy back. Kirk Cousins healthy back. Offensive line, I think, really started to gel as the season went on. What does that make an offseason feel like? I know it just ended. You take a lot of hits during the regular season, but when you have that core coming back, does that make you more excited for next year?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things, you can't do anything but be excited for that and the opportunity to add some pieces to the puzzle as well. Being in a system for the third year where, years before that I've had different OCs every year. So being in the system for the third year, having an understanding, having the confidence within that system is definitely something that changes the ball game. I just pray that we get Kirk Cousins back. Because I love that guy. I've been playing with him since I got in, and he changes the game for sure. Yeah. But it's definitely one of those things I'm excited for, to get back in there with my brothers and go do something special.
Yeah,
you're obviously in a brotherhood on the Vikings, but also in the the running back world. The Chiefs have a running back in this game, and Isaiah Pacheco, who's got a very unique running style. People say he runs like he's angry at the ground. What's your take on his running style?
Definitely that. We get a crack out of watching him run. I mean, a lot of respect to him. You don't get those kind of jokes if you're not playing hard every single game.
Right.
So you can't do anything but respect his game for sure. He's done an amazing job of putting himself in a position to not only impact a franchise at this level. You have the opportunity of a lifetime again. So it's kudos to him. Hats off to him. I think he was a late round guy, right? And seventh rounder, making a name for himself. So a lot of respect. I love to see that as a fellow running back. But yeah, we definitely pop on some tape sometimes in the running back room, and I don't think
high knees
I don't
for me.
think I don't think my knees and my joints and my ankle, I don't know if they could take that type of running style that he has. Yeah. But I mean, hats off to him. I can't remember, there was one that was hilarious. It was something like he runs like a rugrat or something like that. And I was just like, I don't know how people come up with this stuff, but it like hits. It's on point every time. But I was glad to see that he got a kick out of some of the stuff that people were saying as well.
When you were growing up, did you have a favorite running back or a guy that you so obviously yes, and then did you model your game after anyone?
Yeah, so the guys that I watched, the three backs that I kind of modeled my game after, Marshawn Lynch, Adrian Peterson, and Jamal Charles. And those are my guys. And, everyone, there's nothing but love and respect to, like, the legends during, the time that I was growing up, LT and all those guys. But those are my guys that I could relate to and I could see myself shaping my game after, and they changed it for me.
You just made a lot of Chiefs fans very happy, by the way. We have a lot of Chiefs fans. And you mentioned Jamal Charles. This is the first Jamal Charles name drop we've got today. We had a Derek Thomas defensively, but now we got a JC. You just made a whole bunch of folks happy.
No, he's one of those guys that, really shaped my game after him. And I think underrated if you ask me.
Yeah, a lot of people argue whether or not he should be up for the Hall of Fame when it's time. He didn't have some of the longevity that some running backs have, which obviously is difficult in the position.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a Hall of Fame running back?
I don't know the metrics of how people get into the Hall of Fame, but if you were to ask me, I think down the road there's respect for sure owed there, and I could see that happening. It just depends on the metrics of how to get in. There's Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, those guys, I definitely, they have to have a gold jacket, but there's a lot of deserving guys that don't have one.
Yeah.
So, it all depends on how they see it.
I guess for me, it's just when I look at Jamal Charles, I say that's one of the best running backs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Period. And I think he played long enough. Maybe he doesn't have the numbers that stack up because of some of the injuries, but one of the absolute best running backs I've ever seen play the game. For me, that's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What's one of the hardest transitions from college into the NFL? Like you talk with some running backs, and pass protection is very difficult. That's a very hard skill to pick up. But just for the fans, everyone at home as well, what was some of the hard transitions from college to the pros?
I would say the load mentally, when you have to learn how to do things, not just be a great back or go out there and ball, but you have to learn how to ball effectively against Myles Garrett and, and against Khalil Mack and Kenny Clark and I mean, I can name Fred Warner. You have to know how to effectively ball against these guys. It's not just go out there and you're one of the best anymore. It's go out there and you're one of the best, but now there's a lot more to it, a lot more details to it, and so. When you kind of see that and you learn that, that's the hardest part, I think, is learning that part of it. Because I tell you right now, Vontaze Burfict, my rookie year, ran through my face. and
he's done that a lot.
And that's a name where you're like, okay, you expect that. But that was one of those moments where, in like pass protection, you can pick up this guy, but he's still going to try and get to the quarterback, whether you're in front of him and you're in the right position or not. So the details of trying to actually stop this guy is a lot different at this level.
But we know you got to get out of here real quick before you go. Who's going to win it on Sunday?
I got the 49ers. I got to root for those guys.
Oh, man, after you just gave Jamal some love.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm a Christian McCaffrey, Debo was my class.
Sure.
Got some love for those guys.
Where can folks go to I Am Gifted?
Criticclothing.com is where you can shop I Am Gifted merchandise, and you can find us on Instagram at iamgifted.foundation to see all the great things that we're trying to do and the impact that we're trying to have on people's lives.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Good luck next year.
Thank
Take
you.
care, man.
Appreciate you guys.
That was a lot of fun, man. I love talking.
Yeah.
Running backs are so fun to talk to, getting their inside perspective. And again, we got a little JC love, huh?
A little JC
Got a little
love.
JC love.
Although, man, I got to tell you, I think his clothes look terrific. But I'm not quite sure the T-shirt would look the same on me.
You think I might not show off your guns the same?
Yeah. He's in shape, man. It's unbelievable.
You think so?
Every time I come to one of these NFL events, I just feel worse and worse about myself. I'm like, man, I couldn't even be in a halfway decent shape. These guys are like action figures.
When I stood next to Myles Garrett yesterday, his bicep was bigger than my dome.
Yeah, well, Shannon Sharp, my God, he's got to be bigger than when he played now.
Oh, dude, he's huge.
His arm was the size of my torso.
Huge. That guy is a very large human being.
So we're going to have Demarcus Ware coming up. By the way, this is the Arrowhead Addict podcast. Do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, there's like 62 of you watching. There's 4 likes on this video. Hook us up. Come on, hit that like button. Okay. Yeah, there's 28 likes. All right, there's 28 likes. That's still not enough. There's still 60 of you watching. Let's go 1-1. Hit that like button if you think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl on Sunday.
He's pandering right now.
I am pandering. I am a company man, and I got a job to do. All right, so we're going to be going for a while. We're not even close to being done. We've got Demarcus Ware, but don't go anywhere. Demarcus Ware, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Marshall Newhouse is going to be dropping by. The super agent, Leigh Steinberg, who they made Jerry Maguire based on, is going to be stopping by at 1 o'clock. We got TJ Edwards coming, Andrew Zimmerman, and Morlon Greenwood. I mean, this is just the lineup. CJ Mosley. And then this one, it's way down the list here. Mack Hollins, Bruce Smith, the Hall of Famer, is going to be coming by.
Excuse me now. You know us as a Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure Demarcus Ware is now in the Hall of Fame.
We're going to have Michael Pittman. We're going to have Sean Merriman, who I know might not be the most popular.
I love Sean Merriman.
Visit that we'll have today with the fans.
Demarcus Ware, this past season, into the Hall of Fame now.
He's in there. Pretty incredible, man. Obviously, with the Cowboys, with the Broncos, joining us right now.
Where I met you at?
Yeah.
Here every year. I knew it. What's up, guy?
How you doing, man?
How you doing?
What's up, man? Good, man. What's up, fellas?
Oh, man. That's an awesome
sir.
hat, too. Look at the Pepsi.
Yeah.
You got it all rocking.
You're with Pepsi. What's
With
going
Pepsi
on?
and Go Bowling. So I'm here on behalf of Go Pepsi, and I'm going to say Pepsi and Go Bowling, because we're here to bring community back to, you might as well say the Super Bowl. When you think about bowling, you think about family, you think about friends competing, and something that everybody can do. And so we're got 2 amazing companies together, And all of the proceeds are going to go to the NFL Foundation to really help out communities around the world. And if you're not here, cool. Go to gobowling.com. There's a lot of things that aren't free. But if you go to gobowling.com, you get free admission to your local area at this time, and you can actually get involved, and those proceeds will go to the NFL Foundation, so it'll still benefit this whole cause. But it's one of the cool things I get to do, and also compete.
Yeah.
I'm still a competitor. I might not be able to beat you on the football field anymore, but if I get that bowling ball in my hand, I don't care if you're 2-42, you can still take that L.
Well, I assure you, you could beat us on the football field.
Yeah, on the foot. Yeah, maybe.
I'm not blocking you, and I'm not going to try.
Man, almost broke my hand, shaking my hand over here. No, you still got it, man. So listen, this is incredible. You sang the national anthem at the Hall of Fame game. I think that surprised a lot of people. How did that come about, and how long have you been a singer?
We were at the luncheon once you find out after NFL honors, I think, and right after you go to like a little luncheon, you introduce yourself, and the last thing you have to give them is, what is something we don't know about you? I said, well, I sing. And I sung a song, and, real hyped and feeling good. They were like, hey, Demarcus, you want to sing the national anthem? I said, sure. I got you. And then, like, 2 months out, when I started practicing, I said, oh, my God, what am I doing?
It's a hard song.
I can't carry a note. I was forgetting the words. And I said, I got to do this when? In 4 months. So I got a coach. I practice 3 days a week. Practice the whole thing. I said, they told me, if you can keep the right note the whole time, and if you don't mess up on the words, you're going to be okay. You're going to get scrutinized regardless because you're not a professional. I said, that's exactly right. And I remember my coach, he told me, he said, this is YouTube worthy. I said, what do you mean? He said, probably about 9 or 10 million people will be watching it. I said, thanks for telling me that and adding that to it. But it ended up being something great because I did it for one of my former teammates, Demarcus Thomas, RIP to him. And we used to sing it on the sideline. And I said, what would that feel like to just sing it? And I know what it feels like now.
Hey, more pressure singing the national anthem or in the Super Bowl?
More pressure singing the national anthem because you're by yourself.
Oh, good
You're
call.
by yourself and you can't hide at all. Now, when it's a team sport you're playing, you can make a mistake here and there. But no, that national anthem, that's a totally different beast.
What was your experience? You got inducted into the National Football Hall of Fame this past season.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Was that always a goal? I mean, honestly, you always have goals, right? But when did that expectation come into your mind that this is going to happen, I'm going to be a Hall of Famer?
You never set a goal that you can achieve when it's not when you can't do it yourself. And what I mean by that is Defensive Player of the Year, NFC Player of the Year, winning a Super Bowl, all that you can do yourself.
Yeah.
But with the Hall of Fame, it's somebody else nominating you in there because of your resume. So it's not in your hands anymore. So I never thought about making the Hall of Fame, but I said I want to be the best player in the NFL every single year. And hopefully that resume is good enough to be a Hall of Famer. And that ended up being that way, and so it felt really good.
I have a question I like to ask pass rushers, and that is, if you could sack one player in NFL history that you never got to sack, who would it be?
Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers.
So it took me 12 years to get a sack on Phillip Rivers, but it wasn't that when you know that their lungs got crushed and then you like laid on them and you know that they felt that.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones where he just slid. He said, all right, Demarcus, it's cool, you got me. You finally got your sack. And he knew that he knew that because I talk about it all the time in the interviews.
Yeah.
And he slid down and I just touched him like that. He said, you finally got your sack. I'm going to retire this year anyway. So
That's it.
he's a trash talker.
So
if I could rewind the tape,
You would have maybe gone a little.
Oh, man, I wish you would have stayed up.
Well, we know you got to get out of here. We really appreciate you stopping by. One more time, where can people find out about what you're working with?
All right, so I'm here on behalf of Go Bowling and Pepsi, and it's benefiting the NFL Foundation. What we're doing, we're having a huge tournament. All the proceeds are going to go to the NFL Foundation to help the community. And if you can't be here right now, part of this tournament, you still can do it at home. Just go to gobowling.com, sign up, and you get a free admission to go bowling, and those proceeds go to the NFL Foundation, so you still can be part of it and go bowling.
Pretty
awesome.
cool, man. We thank you for coming by.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you.
Thank y'all, man.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
great
not
talking to you.
terrorizing
y'all.
Mahomes right now.
Right, yeah. Oh man, that was awesome. I wish we'd had more time with him.
I know.
You know, these guys, especially a guy like Demarcus. I mean, they're moving from
So
table
many
to
great
table. We
stories.
got people coming through here. He was a terrific one. Kayvon Thibodeaux. What's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate
Hey,
it.
how you doing, man?
Thanks for coming by.
I don't have long enough arms to go across the table,
Yeah,
you know.
too much.
Oh, so you're no. We were just talking about how hungry we are. You're working with Campbell's Chunky. Tell us
Exactly.
about that.
That sack hunger, baby.
Come on,
It's
Chunky
empty,
Sacks Hunger. You know, they donated 4 million meals, man. It's amazing. You know, when you talk about the impact and being able to be a resource, obviously, you know, Chunky has donated these meals on our behalf as a part of an initiative, Chunky Sacks Hunger. And, you know, being in the league and being able to get sacks, I mean, what else could you ask for?
Yeah, right.
Something a little interesting that people might not know about you. You love chess.
Yeah.
Right?
Come
One,
on.
how did that love for chess begin? And two, how does it affect you on the football field, trying to think a couple steps ahead here?
You know, honestly, it's just training. You know, I use it like when I wake up and right before I go to sleep to kind of get my gears going. You know, I almost play chess before I take a test. So you think about even pregame, matter of fact, but you think about being able to get those different parts of your brain working and thinking multiple steps ahead. And, you know, when bullets are flying, you got to have quick reactions and quick thinking. So I play with a clock. It started back in high school, and it's been going ever since.
Yeah. Who's the best offensive line you've faced in the NFL so far?
As a complete O-line or
Yeah.
one
I
individual
would
person?
say complete O-line.
Complete O-line?
Like, who are the guys you go up against? You're like, not these guys again.
Nobody. I don't say
one?
that, but I would say the Eagles obviously have a great D-line with Jason Kels and the two guys on the edge. They're up there with one of the better teams.
As far as just defensive line in general, I think it takes guys a long time to make that transition from college to the pros. I don't care how good you were in college, it gets a little different in the NFL. You see it all the time. Again, solid rookie year, 4 sacks. You know, I know you missed a few games, but 4 sacks. Then this year you really broke out with 11 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like going from college to the pros and then that jump from year one into your sophomore season?
Well, I think it's just understanding that, you know, you aren't a superhero anymore. You know, college and high school, you were kind of able to take over the whole game. Granted, there are some guys, and when you are good enough and reach that level, you can take over a game, right?
Yeah.
There are games that I've been able to take over, but when you think about, you have to be able to kind of take a piece of humble pie and contribute where you can, you know, and that's understanding that you're not just going against O-linemen, you're going against a defensive coordinator, you're going against a head coach, you're going against a whole system, you know, so being able to just continuously impact the game is probably the most important part.
Did you have a pass rusher that you watched while you were growing up that you
course.
idolized or modeled your game after?
I didn't watch much football growing up, but when you say once I started getting recruited in high school, Von Miller, you know, once I kind of really stuck to it, he was a guy who's a real technician. Obviously, he's God-gifted talent, but he's a guy who really hones in on his craft.
Have you gotten to meet Von?
Yeah, I actually have. We've chopped it up. You know, I've tuned in on his pass rush summits, but he dropped a lot of gems that I've been able to take with me.
What's it like playing in New York? Obviously, massive media market there.
Yeah.
They're very, very passionate.
They're passionate.
They're trying to get back to the top. What's it like playing in New York?
It's a blessing, bro. You wouldn't really want to be anywhere else, especially when you talk about the fandom. It's like, why would I want to play in, you know, Timbuktu where guys aren't even showing up to the games? And I'm from LA. You know, we know LA. Nobody, it's so many sports teams, so many things going on that nobody's showing up.
Sure.
But in New York, it's the same thing, and everybody's still showing up.
Yeah.
So, you know, the love that the fans have for the game is kind of what makes it great.
If you could sack one quarterback, pass could be somebody who's playing now that you haven't sacked, or somebody from the 80s, who would it be and why?
Man, I wanted to sack Tom Brady, but, you know, he got out before I was here just because.
He saw you coming, he was like, I'm done.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. So, you know, you definitely getting one of those under my belt would have been dope, but, you know, shout out to him.
As far as you graduated from the University of Oregon, right? That's a powerhouse school. Man, I feel bad. I was rooting for them against Washington. I'm not gonna. Don't tell Michael Penix. Don't tell him now.
I'm not.
Don't tell him now. But what was that like going from the West Coast and then now all of a sudden you're on the East Coast?
It was a little bit of a change because of the weather. You know, being a California guy, you know, it's sunny all the time, and now you really get 4 seasons in New York. But I like it. I love it, man. When you talk about, you know, just being able to see a different part of the world, different part of the landscape, and a lot of history there. It's been amazing.
Which quarterback have you faced over your career that has been the hardest to sack, most slippery, most frustrating?
Most slippery right now got to be Jalen Hurts. He's really strong, got a strong lower body. I think I almost got him, but it's really tough, man. You gotta have a good center of gravity.
When you look at what Patrick Mahomes does, right? I mean, he is very unique, brings a different skill set than a lot of other quarterbacks. You look at how many times he drops back in a game, then you also look at the underlying stats. Hardest to sack in the NFL statistically. You get the chance to go up against him one-on-one. What are you doing? He's right there in your grasp.
I'm grabbing every piece of cloth I can. I don't know. I'm shoelace tackling. I'm doing whatever I can to get him down.
Yeah. All right, so we got the Super Bowl coming up here. Just a few days now. 49ers, Chiefs. Which team do you think has the edge in this one?
Right now, I'm going to go with the 49ers. We got some Ducks on that team, and I want to see them win.
Man, come on. You see the Chief behind you.
I
you
see
made
it.
a lot of folks angry right now.
Listen, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I'll be honest. He's a legend, right? Living legend in the flesh. But, like I said, I got to roll with the Ducks.
What do you do when an offensive line is trying to take you out of a game? Because now you're getting to this point of your career, right? As a rookie, you have some one-on-one opportunities. Maybe even this year in your second year, one-on-one opportunities. When you get 11 and a half sacks your second year, you're now going to be the guy that teams scheme against. Yeah. How are you prepared to try and handle that?
Just keep getting better, man. You got to keep honing in on your craft, and now you got to work triple moves, quadruple moves, whatever it's going to take, and continuously keeping a good motor. And then it's all about the scheme. Hopefully with the new defensive coordinator that we have, we can work some schemes and start to see where I can move around and, use my versatility.
What are expectations for the Giants next season? Obviously, Daniel Jones coming back, DeVito. Tommy, had a little fun with it. But what's that like, especially on the defensive side of the ball? You see your starting quarterback go down. You know what? It's tough not to, in your mind, say, oh, great. What are we going to have here? How does that affect you mentally as a defensive player and also expectations for next year?
We want to win. I'll be honest. He got hurt, and he's coming back healthy. He's coming back stronger. I'm excited for the season. But, yeah, man, we're trying to win as many games as possible and be back here next year and not doing interviews with you guys but actually playing.
You had 4 sacks in 2022, then 11 and a half sacks in 2023. What changed for you from that first season to last year?
If I'm being honest, I had a lot of great plays my rookie year. I just wasn't finishing. Yeah. It's just about finishing, man. You got to make the plays. Great players make the plays. And I was able to make some plays, and, I'm grateful for it.
For over 25 years, Campbell's Chunky has answered the call to fight hunger insecurity through our charitable work in local communities. Chunky Sacks Hunger.
Come on.
We appreciate
Come on, baby.
it,
What's your go-to?
Oh, man, chicken noodle soup.
Is this a spicy one?
Come on.
Oh, that's the goat. That's the best one right there.
Come on, what else do you want?
If you think I don't have 4 of those in my pantry right now, come on now.
I got 8 of them in there. 2 of them are collecting dust because I always restock.
You got to restock.
You restock before you run out. So there's 2 they're probably expired, but they're still there. I'm not getting rid of them.
It's like if you get sick. This is the best thing for it. It's going to clear out your sinuses. You put a little hot sauce in there, too.
Everything.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's the way to go.
We appreciate you, Kayvon. Thank you for coming by.
Come on. Thank you.
Hey, good luck next year, man.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Kayvon Thibodeaux right there, heading into his 3rd year in the NFL. Good rookie season. Phenomenal sophomore year. Thank you. Oh, we don't get to eat the soup?
Yeah, it wasn't real soup.
I'm kidding. I know. I felt it. I just grabbed it. It was empty, everyone. I thought it was full. Almost flung it. I mean, don't throw soup.
Don't throw soup.
Well, don't throw chunky.
What's up, man? Patrick.
Hey, Sterling. I was going to give you a fist bump. That was very awkward.
That was so awkward.
That was horrible. Well, I had my left hand out,
I'll give you that second chance.
Thank you. Well, a lot of times guys have been sitting back and they're trying to give me a handshake. What am I supposed to do? I'm not an athlete over here. I don't have the arm length over here.
So we got Marshall Newhouse here, 11-year NFL veteran, a Super Bowl champion, an entrepreneur who retired in 2020. You played for like half the league.
Yeah, I was on my Ryan Fitzpatrick track as an offensive lineman.
Yeah. So you played in a lot of places. Which place had the best home environment?
I mean, it's a standard answer, but it's true. As from a purely football standpoint, it was Lambeau. It was Green Bay.
Yeah.
It's like the Mecca if you're a football fan. And, like, I didn't understand it fully when I was there. I was my longest stint, 4 years. But, like, running out on the field, getting introduced at Lambeau, there's, like, nothing that comes close to it. Yeah. Is it the loudest? No. But, like, a night game in Lambeau against the Bears, like, there's not much better if you're just a pure football fan.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially, too, because you always beat the Bears.
Well, yeah, we were good. That helps. I had a Hall of Fame quarterback, and, that was a lot of fun.
Did you, when you played, I assume played in this many teams, you played at Arrowhead once or twice. What was your opinion of Arrowhead Stadium?
The stadium atmosphere was incredible. Like when the fans were into it. Yeah. It doesn't make sense from like a physics. You're like, this is an open stadium. This shouldn't be this loud. And it's just ear-piercingly loud. And I played there as a Packer, Raiders, other teams, and they can get really raucous. And you're like, oh man, this is it. It's one of the ones that surprises you. You hear about it, and then until you get there and experience it, you don't believe it. And you're like, oh crap, okay. Watching my center's head for the silent count. I didn't take it seriously all week, but now I have to.
Yeah. Did y'all smell the barbecue on the way in?
Yeah, you see the tailgating scene. Yeah. Like when you roll up to the campus, it's kind of removed from the city. There's just cars already in line, even if it's a noon game. They said they've been in line since 6 a.m. tailgating. You're like, oh man, if I wasn't playing, I'd love to be there. It would be a nice place to be. Yeah.
How hard was it going from team to team like that? How do you have to adjust your game? Because obviously different quarterbacks, different blocking styles, different drop backs. Like Holmes, for example, drops back deep, right?
Right.
I know obviously he was not a guy you blocked for, but in general, Aaron Rodgers is going to be different than anyone else.
Yeah.
What was that like for you as a player, having to adjust all those times?
It was extremely difficult, and I didn't really. In real time, I didn't realize how difficult it was. I was just doing it. It was kind of survival mode. And each place, a new place I would get to, I would try to start picking up on intricacies of the offense, snap count, the quarterback's depth, stuff like that. And then even blocking schemes, blocking techniques. There are some offensive line coaches who wanted things done a certain way. Ultimately, when you play for a lot of different places, you're like, I need to win the block more than I need to do it his way, but you're trying to find that balance because you want to be a good teammate. You want them to know that you're bought in. But yeah, everything from where is the training room, my routine before practice, getting taped, like everything changes. And so doing that over and over again, I got used to it, but it's really hard. Yeah. Most people move jobs maybe 3-4 times in their entire life. I did it 8 times in 11 years, not barring college, not barring anything in the offseason. So it's a lot, definitely.
So we got this big Super Bowl matchup coming up. That's one of the reasons why we're all here.
Yeah.
How important is offensive line play going to be in this game, do you think?
I mean, it'll be extremely important. It seems obvious, but I think people kind of overlook it a little bit. If you look back to the last time Patrick Mahomes lost in the Super Bowl, the big story was his protection was not up to snuff. Yeah. And I think Kansas City has better tackles this year, like Donovan Smith. But you're seeing them intentionally, and this is to me the genius of Andy Reid, the genius of Patrick Mahomes. They're intentionally, strategically protecting those guys. And it's not they need protection like they're not good. They're just removing extra opportunities for one-on-ones and for guys to get beat. Pat Mahomes is on such a different plane of like awareness that he knows when going into a game, hey, this is a mismatch for us on the right side, the left side, left guard, right guard, or whatever, and he uses that to his advantage. And so they know sometimes we got to chip with a tight end and running back. Sometimes we just got to do play action under center. That protects alignment as well. Screens, they're the best in the league at like intentionally running screens. They do it so much in practice, more so than I think anyone else does. And so those little things add up to, over the course of a game where there's 65 to 70 plays, instead of a tackle having to one-on-one pass block 25 times, it's 20 times. And that's 5 less times for a guy to get to Pat. And on the passes they run, Pat gets an extra half a second, and that's the difference in the game. There's minutia there, and people kind of overlook it, but that stuff is the winning edge when it comes to, really winning these close games, because this is a toss-up game. You look at the spread, it's down to 1.5, 2 now, and you want Pat Mahomes with the ball in his hands last, and you want to give him every millisecond you possibly can. And that comes both from doing your job as a player individually, but then scheming stuff a little more creatively, a little more intentionally.
Turf versus grass. There came a report out, I think today it was 92% of the NFL players who vote, they want grass.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the 8% is probably kickers. I'm assuming that's got to be the 8%.
Yeah.
Where do you land on grass versus turf? And as far as an offensive lineman, what are some of the differences there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I played on grass in college, so I would say grass. Practice on grass. Our home field in college was grass. And every experience I've had with grass, because sometimes we can get into it. They're different species of grass. Sure. It's kind of crazy nerdy. But some of these teams have 10-man crews that take care of that stuff. Yeah. They spend millions of dollars on this stuff. Most teams I think all teams can afford to do it, regardless of climate. But there's a level of give. There's a level of, it's pure. Like the way your foot feels on the grass when you're trying to change direction, it's pure. And sometimes you'll slip if it's a little wet. But we understand that. We take that into account. With turf, we talked about when we're playing turf, a pass rush is going to be about 10% quicker off the ball. everything's springier, and that just feels a little artificial. Not, tongue in cheek also, but also when you have to change directions and your foot gives out, your knee goes with it if you're on turf. If not, there's a clump in the grass. Yeah, you slip, but your knee doesn't get blown out. And so over time, also practicing on it, there's just less wear and tear on your joints. And so on aggregate, you're talking about taking months to years off a guy's career as well. People don't talk about that as much. So I'm definitely an advocate for grass.
So the Chiefs have an all-pro guard in Joe Thuney, who's unlikely to play in this matchup because of a pec injury. Nick Allegretti stepped up for him last week. How difficult is it for an offensive line to adjust when a guy goes down, you got a new guy coming in, and now, it just happens to be for the AFC Championship game and not the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I play with Joe. He's an incredible guard. He's just so consistent. People forget that he's there because he is so consistent and good at what he does. And Allegretti stepped in great in the AFC Championship game. But yeah, it's difficult. I think it's a little easier at guard because you've got help from your center and your tackle on both sides.
Sure.
And they're less exposed, especially I don't think, San Francisco as stout in the middle with their D linemen. They've got really good guys than Hargrave. And but you'd say their strengths are probably on their edges. But I think they're, Allegretti's going to have an easier time acclimating because he's got help from a Creed Humphrey, which helps, and his tackle, which helps. And so he's still got to perform. There'll still be times when the defenses are smart. They're going to try to get him isolated. This might be the weak point. We're going to try to get our guy one-on-one with space, not give him any help from his guards, and we'll see if we can stand up. But overall, I think guard's a little bit easier than other positions. Not to say it's an easy job at all.
Who's the hardest dude you had to block? Who's a guy that you're like, you know what? Oh, great, we got to play this guy this game.
Yeah.
No, not looking forward to it.
Man, there's too many to name, but I mean, there's a couple that come to mind. Obviously, Myles Garrett. He's just they don't make people like that. He's from another planet.
I sat next to him yesterday.
Yeah.
His bicep is bigger than my dome.
Yeah, I had friends who coached in college, and they were scouting him in DFW, and this kid could play in the pros today. And he was 17 at the time, 16 at the time. So he's a different animal, really hard to block, and he's getting smarter. He's getting stronger and smarter as his years go on, so I'm glad I got him when I did.
Yeah.
I gave up a spin sack to him, and I had a turf in my eye and all this other stuff. I'm like, damn, I gave up a sack to Myles Garrett on Tom Brady. Didn't love that. And then the other guy was JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, who, people don't think of. But to me, his style was just so unique that it gave me particularly fits. He's such a freak athlete as well. You saw him, remember back to when he was doing backflips pre-draft at USF. You're just like, he's built different as well. But he's less of a straight line guy. He's got really long arms. His body's just built different. So he's a lot of lateral movement, a lot of lateral quickness. It's just hard to game plan for. I played for New York in 2015 and 16, got to practice against him every day. So I got good at blocking him. But then you realize, yes, I'm a better lineman for that. But there's no one else who really rushes like that. So how much good is that doing me?
Yeah.
But he gave me a lot of fits when I was on opposing teams. So JPP, I would say as well.
So Bill Belichick parts ways with the Patriots this year. Kind of shocking. And then he doesn't have another job, which I think it's absolutely insane. I don't understand. There were 7 head coaching openings. What's your take on that? Why is he sitting at home right now?
Yeah, this week I've been asked that a lot. And to me, there's parts of you that understand it, and there are parts of you that oh, this is crazy. The parts of me that understand it come down to scarcity. There are only 32 teams, and at any particular year, there's anywhere from 5 to 8 coaching openings. So ultimately, these owners are their own bosses. They make the rules. No one tells them what to do. So when he's in the meeting with the owner, he's asking for what he's asking for. He's got his standards that he has earned over his 20-year, 6 Super Bowl career that the owner might not want to acquiesce to. And ultimately, it's not an adversarial thing, but they just don't want to give up that control, and that's what he wants. That's his standard. And so when you talk about limited opportunities, it just might be that this go-around, there wasn't a good fit. But you're also this guy is a Hall of Famer, arguably, he's the best coach of all time in the NFL. Yeah. Someone should make room for him. So you see it from both angles. I think this is going to be a good year for him to kind of take stock. He's the best at educating players about football, about their specific roles, how they fit into things. He's incredible at that. I think he'll get better at that, and I think come next year, he's still got the itch. He's still got the energy. I think there will be another opportunity to find a fit. Again, there will be limited opportunities, and so you're like, if nothing happens again, I don't see it happening, but if nothing happens again, you have to just say, ultimately, the owner doesn't want to give up as much control as Bill is willing to offer for. And that is, you see it from the ownership side, but you also see it from Bill. It's this is what it's going to cost. Yeah. And it's not even about money. He doesn't need the money. when he wants to do it his way, and you get that. So.
Before we get you out of here, score prediction.
Who
wins?
Man, it's the first score prediction of the week. Listen, I think it'll be a really close game. San Francisco, to me, is the most well-rounded team, position to position. Brock Purdy's playing well in his role, and people forget he's in his second year, so he's learning how to excel in his role, and he'll get more opportunities to really rise above what they ask him to do. I still think at the end of the game, if the ball's in Pat Mahomes' hands with down by a possession or tie game, I don't know how you bet against him. I don't know how you go against him. So, people forget that Super Bowls, playoffs, scoring comes down. Their scoring was already down league-wide.
Yeah.
Scoring's come down even more playoffs, even more in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I see this as like a 28-27 game in that range. Some last-minute heroics from Pat. That's my kind of prediction just based on this feels like he has and continuing to take control of the league. I don't see his focus is so singular on this is like my legacy, and I don't know how you bet against Pat Mahomes.
Can't bet against Pat Mahomes.
Yeah,
Marshall, thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Now I'm doing nuts.
Yeah, now we're doing nuts. We get in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Now we got it.
Appreciate you coming by. Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Yeah. That was
it's a cool hat too. I'm not gonna lie. I like that hat.
Marshall Newhouse. He's into all kinds of stuff, man. Cryptocurrency, real estate. Looks like he's gone on the mic too. Maybe he's got a shot in picking up one of these media jobs as well. Really
very
fascinating.
insightful. I love getting an insight of guys who have bounced around a lot as well.
Yeah, we didn't even get to ask him. He played for Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, the reason why, look at some of the comments right now. You guys are killing me right now. Every time, take a shot every time I talk about Myles Garrett's bicep. Come on. You guys would be too drunk, and we're here to drink
You won't get up here and do
responsibly.
5 hours of radio. Hi, Leigh. How you doing? Leigh Steinberg.
How are you?
How you doing?
Hi, good.
That's a lovely suit right there. That's beautiful. It's a nice jacket.
Thank you.
All right, we got Leigh Steinberg. Obviously, it's the Super Bowl. You're here. You've been to a lot of Super Bowls. This is, are you throwing your 37th Super Bowl party? Is that what I'm hearing about here?
This is my 50th year representing athletes, and because I started in 1975. But we'll have our 37th Super Bowl party, and it's a platform for showcasing Special Olympics, for example, and trying to raise money and awareness around that issue. We have a concussion summit with neurologists coming from a variety of different fields to talk about awareness, prevention, and cure. We do humanitarian awards to highlight philanthropic things that, like Kevin Warren, the president of the Chicago Bears, will get one. This year we have a poker tournament with Jamie Gold and Phil Hellmuth and celebrity players, and we have an e-sport competition, which will have Michigan versus Michigan State. So we got a few things going on.
You got a lot going on. You work with Special Olympics. We actually are working with Special Olympics as well. We have a Special Olympics reporter here. So we got to ask you about being an agent. I mean, how does being an agent change when you're dealing with athletes from different sports? Is it always the same, or is it different from NFL guy, NBA guy?
The sports are a little bit different. The football is a team sport, so you got athletes into that, and most of them have gone to college. Yeah. So they're a little more sophisticated. Basketball is much more an individual sport. Yeah. So where I represented 90 football players, your basketball practice would be much smaller because those players would call every day. Yeah. Hockey are supposed to be the nicest players, and baseball is somewhere in between.
How does the NIL throw a wrench in all of this as an agent? I saw the head shake right there, but just how does it throw a wrench in everything as an agent? What do you have to do to adjust with that, with the addition of NIL? So this has been the most revolutionary year in terms of college athletics, the conference realignments, what you're seeing in terms of gambling. I mean, we're here in Las Vegas. This was never going to happen, right? The NFL would never be in Las Vegas, but here we are. Yeah. But NILs have revolutionized
the fact that now you have players in high school who are branding and marketing themselves. And so normally I wouldn't talk to a football player until his junior year. But all of a sudden, if you don't sign a 16 or 17-year-old as a marketing agent, you may never have a chance to talk to him again if he signs with someone else. The other thing is the use of it in recruiting high school to college and in transfer portals.
Yeah.
Because these collectives have gotten together, and there's now a bifurcation between the big alumni schools and smaller schools. And they may offer a player $8 million in endorsement money if he comes to School X, or if he transfers from School X to School Y. That's different. And the NCAA could have cured this by allowing a more expansive amount of money for players from heavier backgrounds that don't have a lot of financial support, but they didn't. So now it's exploded in unintended ways.
Is there any way for it to be advantageous as far as, I guess one way is if you get to a 16 or 17-year-old early, they might be loyal and stick with you throughout their high school, college, and professional career. Now, that's obviously going to be lucky. Not all those guys are going to go pro. We know a small amount of those people will be going pro. But you have the opportunity there. I guess the other way would be when you get these guys at the highest level now, if they do decide to change agencies, they've already been dealing with the agents now since they've been younger. Is there a way for that to be more advantageous as they might know more about what you guys can provide?
Well, you have a more sophisticated athlete who's aware of social media, and the currency of everything today is how many followers you have on Twitter, how many followers you have on TikTok or Instagram. And so yes, theoretically, you could have a longer relationship, and that would bond you stronger when you got to the pro ranks.
So you're credited as being the real-life inspiration for Jerry Maguire. I'm sure you get asked about this a lot. In the movie, he has sort of an aha moment and writes this sort of manifesto about how agents should have their relationships and represent their athletes. What's been your personal philosophy throughout your career about, taking care of these players?
The first key is listening. So you have to draw out another human being who's male and not so easily sharing feelings to tell you what really is critical and important to him, not what the outside world thinks, but what that is. Then we want athletes who understand the power of sports to be role models, and who will go back and set up a high school scholarship fund and a collegiate scholarship, and then at the pro level a charitable foundation, so that Warwick Dunn just put the 200th single mother and her family into the first home they'll ever own by making a down payment and moving them in. Athletes that will make a difference. We can tackle any problem, bullying, sex trafficking, through athletic role modeling. So when I had the heavyweight boxer Lennox Lewis cut a public service announcement that said real men don't hit women, it could do more to trigger behavioral change in rebellious adolescents than 1,000 authority figures should. So it's the athlete as role model. It's a holistic view of what other talents they have to utilize in second career.
What's the hardest part about dealing with so many of these high-end players? What's the hardest part? I mean, you've had, 8 number 1 overall draft picks? I mean, a lot of times those guys, they've always been the guy. They're used to being the alpha. They're used to be the guys in charge. Now you're trying to say, hey, hold down a little bit now. We're trying to do what's best for you in your career. Is it tough sometimes reeling people back into the real world?
Well, for example, we talked to Patrick Mahomes about not doing any endorsements the first couple of years.
Yeah.
And so that would allow his talent on the field to come before he's on a whole series of ads and he's on a whole series of things. So it's trying to measure out a career path that keeps the athlete grounded. And and Mahomes is really grounded, and so that's key.
Yeah. So you've dealt with so many famous faces over your career. Have you ever been starstruck? Is that even possible at this point?
Probably not in sports. If Sandy Koufax came back, I mean, I was a young kid when the Dodgers were Koufax and Maury Wills. So when I got to be friends with Maury Wills, that was, I thought, very cool. But not in team sports.
Do you have a favorite person you've represented? I know, obviously, just that, but do you have like a favorite person? Like, you know what? They were so easy to work with. It was great. The relationship still lasts today. Do you have any of those types of players?
Warren Moon went through 6 years in Canada, 17 in the NFL. We sort of grew up together. We were together for 23 years and then worked together after his career. And he was a superb role model who set up charitable programs at his high school and still has a foundation that helps send kids to college.
Has a player ever actually said to you, "Show me the money"?
No, that line came from Cameron Crowe, the writer-director, was following me around, and he went out to the league meetings in 1993, and there was a safety named Tim McDonald who was going to leave Arizona and he ended up with the 49ers, so he followed that process. They went upstairs in the hotel room, and Cameron sort of said, "What are you looking for in the process?" Well, Lou Dobbs and Moneyline was on in the background, and Tim gestured towards the screen. He said, "I'm looking for a team that will show me victory. I'm looking for a team that's going to show me this and that," and then somehow out of that came "Show me the money."
There's Leigh Steinberg Day out there in California, out there in San Fran. I didn't realize that. You helped prevent the San Francisco Giants from going to Florida. I think it's kind of, I'm 29, so I was born 2 years after, but I actually had zero idea there was even a possibility of that. How were you able to help prevent such a historic franchise in the Giants from going to Florida?
Which was funny because I grew up as a Dodger fan. But the mayor of San Francisco, Frank Jordan, called me up and asked me if he could help because the Giants had signed a binding agreement with a group of businessmen in Tampa Bay, Florida, and they were gone. And so I said, well, first of all, we got to turn around the concept that it's a fait accompli because the National League has to approve it, so let's organize people around that. And then we have to figure out a stadium plan for a new stadium, and then we have to bring some new investors into it. And so I worked on that for about 6 weeks, and we saved the team. And then the people in Tampa sued me for $3.5 billion.
Well, what's your current opinion on what's going on with the Oakland A's right now?
You know, I spent half my life in the Bay Area. I have deep roots in Berkeley, Oakland. I wish they would stay. I just don't think the city prioritized it. I saw the mayor here was pushing back in Las Vegas on the A's thing. I was chairman to Save the Rams. I like teams to stay where they are unless there's a compelling reason to switch. The A's need a new stadium.
Yes.
That stadium, when I was part of Save the A's, which I did with Mayor Elihu Harris, we had to find new owners. And so, but they need a new stadium. And what happened is all sorts of promises were made to the A's about that stadium that when the Raiders came back from Los Angeles were never fulfilled. So it's not a very good stadium for football or for baseball.
How common, and maybe not as much anymore with the prevalence of social media and everything's out there now, but how common was it for a team to either threaten to move, have legitimate thoughts of moving? You know, obviously, I'm from Kansas City. We used to have an NBA team, the Kansas City Kings. No longer. They went to Sacramento. But before that, obviously, they were the Kansas City Omaha. And then before that, it was Cincinnati. Is it fairly common, at least back in the day, for teams to threaten to move? Or is that, again, you're part two right here?
Every single team that has a stadium over 15 years old wants the new stadium with luxury boxes and premium seating and naming rights and jumbo scoreboard. So they all threaten the city that they may leave if they don't get what they want. And, you know, you could probably play football in the LA Coliseum for another 100 years, and it'd be fine. There's nothing wrong with these old stadiums.
Yeah.
And so then the big fight becomes who's funding what? Because are you going to put money into a $2 billion stadium or use it on schools? So the privately funded ones make sense.
So we're here at the Super Bowl, and I think as somebody who's been to so many Super Bowls yourself, I think the get-in price, I mean, it's like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for this one. Do you feel like the NFL should do something to keep it so that it's not so corporatized and that the average fan actually has a chance to get a ticket to see the game?
The problem with this particular game is that probably, I don't know the right percentage, but maybe it's 40% of the seats go to corporations instead of fans rooting for one of the teams. Yeah. So the minute you take that out of the mix, I mean, the average ticket price right now is $10,700. It's the average. And the I could get tickets through the team. That meant I could get the right to buy 2 tickets for $4,500 a piece. I don't think it makes sense for a sport to forget about the fact you have to grow the sport in the future. And I would always set aside seats if I ran a team or a stadium for working people and kids, and make sure that, like, if you just did 10,000 seats at every game, that would be, 100,000 people who would have enjoyed the sport that otherwise couldn't have come.
Yeah. You see all these fans around here at the Mandalay Bay and at the NFL Experience, and I talk to them. I say, you going to the game? And they just all laugh. They say, no, we can't, but we want to be around it. So it would be great to see some sort of system to allow the everyday fan to have a shot.
You know, it's funny. In my early days, I used to offer that to teams and say, we'll take a little less in pay if you'll adjust the ticket prices. Nobody ever took me up on it.
Yeah.
Leigh Steinberg, legendary age. Again, 37th birthday Super Bowl party up in here. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Leigh, we really appreciate
Thank you for coming by. Appreciate
My
it.
pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time and your
welcome.
insight. I mean, that's just the NIL stuff, especially, is just so
it's changing
interesting.
everything, right? Changing everything. Guys staying in college longer than they would have.
And again, that's what the
absolutely
smart
wild.
guys do. It's what made Leigh as great as he's been for so long, is they understand the changing landscape. And a lot of the smart ones, I think, will be in here a long time, while if you don't adjust, you're gone.
I'll take a Red Bull.
We're getting asked by Hunter if we need anything. A jug, a bucket. Yeah, I'll take a Red Bull too.
Red Bull, sugar-free if you can.
Give me extra sugar, please. I don't think you understood my joke if I need a bucket. Oh my gosh, what are those? Lemon and limes?
You are watching the Arrowhead Addict podcast live at the Super Bowl. If you're watching over there on YouTube, do me a solid and hit that like button. And if you're new here, why aren't you subscribed? Hit the little bell so you know whenever we go live. Oh, yeah, and we're having a meet and greet tonight. Producer Richard reminding me that after we get done with this marathon stream that we've been doing, they're going to drag us over to the Mandalay Bay. You can see what 2 walking corpses look like at 5 o'clock, Mandalay Bay lobby. Look for this little sign. Sterling and I we want to meet some of you guys. If you're here, if you're in Vegas, you're a Chiefs fan, you want to come talk a little ball with us, we're going to be there for about 30 minutes just hanging out. Hopefully we can get our hands on some old fashions to bring along.
I don't need old fashions. I need straight bourbon. Inject it responsibly
into my eyeballs. Just inject.
Why would I want to do that? Why would I put a needle there? What is this? The Saw 11?
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Evan says he doesn't think you need any extra sugar.
I need all the sugar, Evan. I'm dying over here.
Yeah.
My body hurts. My feet are destroyed.
We got a question here from Woo's Guy. Watcher since 2019. Question for Sterling and Patrick and the crew. After the second year covering the Super Bowl, how lucky, proud do you all feel to be talking to all these legends and proud of your community. I can feel that when I was here last year. I've covered the Super Bowl a couple times. Last year's the first time I did Radio Row. The podcast, a big part of that is because of you all have been supporting our show, and we want to do Arrowhead Addict here from Radio Live because we get to ask people a lot of Chiefs insights and things like that. We were able to bring Sterling along this year, who's been such a great addition to our program. It's special, man. Like, it's definitely a pinch you moment. I know that last year I got to interview Joe Montana, who is the reason I became a Chiefs fan, helped get me into football. And it was really special to get to shake his hand, ask him questions, talk ball with all these incredible people. We got to talk to Dan Marino yesterday. You've talked to Matt Ryan, Drew Brees. It's just unbelievable.
And it's fun because they're all very personable. It's a lot different than I think even I expected, where, yes, they're superstars, and yes, a lot of times they're plugging somebody. Yes, a lot of times they're used to being the guy, but 99% of them are just very nice. They actually want to know about your story as well.
Yeah.
Like, I love talking to Drew Brees. Just growing up, that was one of my favorite players. I love talking to Sean Alexander. And when I was joking about him saying, got a bone to pick with you for breaking Priest Holmes records, he laughed about it. Kurt Warner, I told him, you're the first Super Bowl. I remember these are guys that I grew up idolizing and watching that really got me into football. So for me, it's very special. First time doing it. Never thought I would do this. Had no idea I was ever going to, first off, get into radio 4 or 5 years ago. I was working for the 76ers. I thought I was going to be a GM. That was my goal. Like every single kid who's ever tried to play, NBA and franchise mode on Major League Baseball, NFL, all that stuff, I thought I was going to be a GM. And I go, you know what? That seems impossible. Surprisingly, I don't know the owners of teams. Being a GM is very difficult to get into. So anyone who worked their way up to a GM, congratulations, especially in today's day and age.
Yeah.
But I thought, what can I do to still talk sports, be around sports? Got into Sports Talk Radio, Arrowhead Addict. Me and Matt Connor started hanging out. All of a sudden, next thing you know, Patrick brings me along. And a few years later now, maybe year 3, where we're going on year 3. It's been a dream, man.
And now we're at the Super Bowl together, and you actually had an NFL player compliment your watch, and it is a nice watch. But I just want to say,
who was it? Was it Orlando Brown Jr.? Was it?
He was around that time. But you see some of the stuff these guys are wearing. That's pretty high praise to get a compliment
$60
on your jewelry, right?
$60. I'm a frugal man. I buy everything on sale.
But it looks good. It doesn't all need to be. What do you think of mine? Matt got me this.
Beautiful.
You like that? It's
beautiful.
A little Chiefs reddish to it.
Appreciate you, Alex, who says, love you, Arrowhead Addict. Best Chiefs content out there. No, we love you, Alex.
Yeah.
Savannah says, y'all have such excellent energy. I love it. We're trying. My energy is waning by the moment. I need Hunter with a Red Bull stat.
And we're really lucky to be here. But I will say we appreciate you guys watching because we know, one, it's right smack during the middle of the workday. It's not our normal show time and all that stuff. And some of you, Savannah, Tom, Evan, Flapjack, you guys support us day in and day out every week. And for you to be watching these marathon streams, look, I'm not trying to. This is really tiring. It is.
You're tired, Patrick?
You're
tired?
Sterling has been going way longer than me. But we're going to interview in this Arrowhead Addict show just today 17 different people. And so it drains you. I was saying I fell asleep at 8 o'clock last night. But when we see you guys in the chat cheering us on, appreciating the content, that gets me going, man. Like that's better than a Red Bull for me. And so we appreciate you guys out there. No, cancel it.
Don't cancel the Red Bull.
I just said it's better than a Red Bull. Not that I don't need the Red Bull.
Let's do it.
All right, who we got coming up?
Good. How are you doing? Sterling.
TJ.
Nice to meet you, TJ.
Patrick. Nice to meet you. TJ Edwards, linebacker, played for the Eagles, now with the Chicago Bears. So you were in 4 years in Philly?
4 years in Philly,
in Philly, and then you go to the Bears. What was that transition like after you had a home in Philly and now you're over there in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, at first it's a little different, just because
Philly was all I knew at that time, coming out of school, and made some great connections and met some awesome people and things like that. My wife and I really made it, somewhat of a home and things like that. But Chicago is where I'm from. So.
Oh, you're from Chicago?
Yeah, going back home was exciting, man. It was, all my family's back there and things like that. So. It was good to go back for sure.
I live in Chicago. I live down the south side in Beverly.
Okay,
gotcha. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in near Gurnee area, but I just say Chicago because that's
everybody does. Yeah, 100%. My wife. So I'm
not even close. But
yeah, Chicago people, you guys are liars. Chicago people do that. Yeah, I'm Chicago. Oh, where at Chicago? Yeah, I'm 4 hours south.
As soon as he goes, I actually live in Chicago. Like, all right, here we go.
I'm not from Chicago. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but my wife is born and bred Chicago. She grew up on the north side.
Where about?
And she in Andersonville.
Okay, gotcha.
And so her and I go to Cancun once a few years ago, and we're at this little bar called The Joint.
Yeah.
A lot of Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
We're sitting there.
I can imagine.
And the bartender he makes us a couple drinks, and he says, "I'm from Chicago." And my wife's like, "Where in Chicago?"
Yeah, there you go.
She got raw on him, and he was probably like Palatine or something. And she was like, "You're not from Chicago."
Away,
and he was like, he had just given us free drinks too, and he's taking the drinks away. But you get into trouble.
100%. No traffic. I'm 30 minutes away. With traffic's a little different.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Bears. We're a Chiefs podcast here, and we actually
Gotcha.
The Chiefs game, the Bears defense was not playing very well.
That was a tough game. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But as the season went on, I was watching, obviously living in Chicago, I watched a lot of the Bears.
Yep.
And as the season went on, I was like, man, this unit is not playing the same way that it did earlier in the season. That happens sometimes, right? The Chiefs offense wasn't very good most of the year. They're in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
What changed? What happened?
I think a lot of it is, we brought in a lot of new faces, and so I think a lot of it is just guys getting comfortable with one another, guys, playing with chemistry, understanding exactly what they're supposed to do in the scheme and things like that. And I also think once things were, they were tough there at first. It was hard, and but I think guys just kind of got to the point where it's like we're just gonna go out there and play, play free and not worry about all the little things, and just go out there and just have fun, fly around and make plays. And that's what we started doing for sure.
Last year, you were part of a historically talented defense out there in Philly.
Yeah.
Obviously, making your way to the Super Bowl again. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But what made that defense so special? What made them so talented? Because just watching the Eagles last year play, you're like, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. And obviously, you're no longer there.
Yeah.
Look at the defense this year. You just put 2 and 2 together here.
No doubt, yeah. No, it's always hard to know kind of exactly what's going on when you're not in there and things like that. I still know a bunch of those guys. I still text them, all the linebackers over there, just texting them, making sure they're good. But that chemistry piece is so real, man. Like when everyone's not on the same page, everyone's not connected in what you're doing, bad things happen. And I don't know if that's what it was or anything like that, but I just know that's why we were so talented last year and why we played so well. And it also helped that our D-line was just absolute game records. So it's like a linebacker, great job, everybody.
I'm going one-on-one. I'm saying you're gone. That's what happened.
No doubt.
The Chiefs linebackers are very versatile, right?
Yeah.
They might not be the biggest name in the NFL, right? Nick Bolton, I'm a Mizzou guy.
Yeah.
So I love Nick Bolton, right?
Yeah, he's a dog, man.
Willie Gay Jr., right? He's very athletic, good pass coverage. Drew Tranquil, a little bit of everything in there. And then the young guy getting his due this year, Leo Chenal.
Wisconsin guy.
What do you see from those 4 guys in particular, and what Steve Spagnuolo has done? Because obviously every team uses linebackers different. You have to be versatile. You have to be able to adapt. I think the Chiefs are a perfect example of that. So what have you seen from them in particular here?
Yeah, I always think it's, again, I think their DC does such a great job of kind of mixing looks and keeping them guessing. But like you said, there's so many versatile pieces over there. And I know Leo because I went to Wisconsin, so I followed him and know about him. That guy's just an absolute freak. Like, he shouldn't be that big running that fast. But again, I think Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are also very underrated guys who can just do everything, man. And physical as can be, and Tranquil does his job, but he also, he makes those big time plays too, and you've seen it in the playoffs. But no, I think just with how they mix things up and kind of mess with your eyes, and they're aggressive, and they drop back when they need to, just seem to be always making the right plays, and that's what you need. And I'm very interested to see this game, kind of how it goes for sure.
You played the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl, obviously, so you had to prepare for the offense, and then again in Chicago this year. Mostly the same cast of characters on the offensive side of the ball. What problems does this Chiefs offense present for an opposing defense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you start. You know, I think again, I think an underrated thing about them is their run game and what Pacheco brings. And again, you know, I think Mahomes is everything. All the off-script plays, all the things him and Kelsey do together. In terms of, you know, just finding open space and things like that, it's hard to manage. And you gotta get some turnovers, you gotta get some stops early to try to get your offense going a little bit, because like we were talking about, their defense is really strong as well. So I'm excited though. I think it's two teams that, again, in this game anything can happen, man, and all it takes is that one Sunday. So I'm excited to see it.
What's the transition like for a linebacker from college to the NFL, right? Because I always hear a lot of folks talk about in college, basically you let your talent shine through. Whoever's the more talented team most likely is going to win. NFL's a little different. Now they're trying to scheme a little different. Now you have to do more things on your plate.
That's true.
How does that work for you, the transition from college to the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, in college I was probably like 255, like playing in the Big Ten, like downhill linebacker, just like spilling lead and you know, all that and blitzing and stuff. And, you know, now I'm like 225 and running all around. But I mean, I think the game just in general is changing, you know, with how the pass game is going and how, you know, how explosive offenses are and how their schemes are really good. So I think, again, it's my opinion, good linebackers around the football at all time, and that's kind of always been our job. But in the league, it's you're sideline to sideline every single play, and that's what makes it fun for sure.
So you played for Nick Sirianni in Philly. Now you've got Coach Eberflus. What do you like about his coaching style?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have all the respect and love and respect for Sirianni. You know, he was awesome. He's a passionate dude who, you know, wears hard on his sleeve, and he was in it with you. You know, that was awesome. So, but no, with Flus, I get that same type of energy, that same passion every single day. You can tell he loves the game, man. He lives, breathes, and sleeps football for sure. And also helps he's a linebacker guy too, so you know what I'm saying, like that does me well too. But no, he's been consistent and just steady, you know, handling the storm of the Chicago media and everything like that. And we were definitely better for it, and that's why we started playing good ball at the end.
TJ Edwards, I'm told we have to let you go.
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
No
TJ,
doubt. Hey, appreciate
great
you guys.
stuff next year. Good luck.
Thank you guys.
We always root for Chicago because of Ryan Poles.
Yeah,
too. So just so you know,
appreciate that.
we root for you as well.
Throw me a little bone in there. Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, good luck, man.
Edwards, linebacker for the Chicago Bears. And we're getting some beverages here. It's not what I ordered, but I'll take
Thanks,
it.
man.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
TJ.
This will do the trick, though. This will do the trick.
I actually like this better, so I'm okay with it. We're going to be joined now by CJ Mosley, linebacker to linebacker.
Display this for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how you doing, man? Patrick.
Sterling.
CJ.
Hey, going linebacker to linebacker right there. Look at that. TJ to CJ.
TJ to CJ.
TJ Edwards. Yeah, from TJ to CJ right there.
Yeah.
So you're working with Campbell's Chunky.
Yes, sir.
This is you're the second guy that's come by with this can, and
It's very spicy. I tried it.
yeah, well, we're struggling
It's the
because
best,
the
dude.
can's empty and we're starving.
Well, when I went to pick it up, I almost.
I
shot
told
it
you
up.
that
Yeah.
last time I picked it up. I was like, it's almost thrown over my. I have about 6 of these in my pantry. Huge spicy guy, and then I get a little extra hot sauce. I like hot stuff.
Yeah.
Put some extra hot sauce in that bad boy.
That one was pretty spicy for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a mild guy.
Mild
I
guy?
would say I'm mild. Yeah.
All right, for you, I want to talk linebacker play because I think this is a really interesting position going from college to the NFL. Obviously, you've been in the NFL a while now, so think back a little bit here. What was that transition like? Because I always hear in college, it's basically just talent level wins. You don't have a lot of scheme. It's more or less, we're in our spots, and we're going to do what we got to do. NFL, we're trying to trick the offense. We're trying to say, hey, I'm blitzing. You're dropping back in coverage.
Yeah.
What's it like with that transition from college to the NFL here?
I'm gonna challenge you on that one because I would say it depends what school you go to.
Sure.
So I went to the University of Alabama, and it was not about tricking. It was you playing football. If you don't do your job, you're gonna lose. So I would start off with there. Coach Saban, Coach Smart. Coach Smart was my linebacker coach and defense coordinator all 4 years. Obviously, Coach Saban, I had him for 4 years. So just being under that scheme, under that process, under that defense. Pretty much, I would say, probably changed me as a football player. I thought I knew how to play football and knew what I was doing, but when I didn't know what a trade formation was coming into college and not knowing how to make a call because I had to know formations, that's when I knew like my game had to take a new level. So just being under those two, role models, leaders, men, great people, they took my game to a new level. So from transition from Alabama defense to NFL defense, other than like learning the new scheme and learning the new verbiage, it was kind of the same. You know, Alabama, we was coming in with 3 different calls for for a pro formation, slot formation, and empty check. So, as a freshman, sophomore in college, I got to know all this stuff, and we didn't get an iPad to my senior year at Alabama, and I didn't even use it then. So we had the binder with 10,000 pages just full of pages. So it was some real deal studying back then. So,
hey, well, it worked for you. You got 2 championships,
it worked.
huh?
It worked.
What is it that you think made Nick Saban such a successful head coach, and what is it like now to think about an Alabama football program without him?
I would say the reason that Alabama stayed successful under him is just his ability to get a bunch of kids that don't know each other, mold them into young men, young adults, and teach them about the process of life on the field and off the field. Because at the end of the day, it all plays the same part. You have to have a mindset, a certain type of mindset to finish in the fourth quarter. You have to have a certain type of mindset to get that last piece of paper done when the deadline is almost due. You have to have a certain type of discipline on and off the field to be successful. So I think he just set us up in a way where if we did the right things and if we listen, obviously do the right things off the field, it would make it pretty much impossible not to succeed. So I think he always talked about the process, and I always say, if I could go back, I wish I could just enjoy the moments where we did win, because all I thought about the process. What's the next? After this win, what's next? If we lost, what's next? We won the championship. All right, what's next? So that's how he kept us going. You have to get over it and repeat it every single time.
So we actually had a chance to talk with Quincy yesterday. What's it like playing alongside him? And I wanted to point out, he had a breakout year last year. I thought that's when he really started to pop. Obviously, you're a Jet. Mm-hmm. He's a Jet. You've been a great leader. You've been known for that for a long part of your career. Yeah. What's it like playing with him and watching him grow as well as the entire Jets defense?
Yeah, Quincy made my job so much easier last year and this year, but obviously more so this year. He really took it upon himself to, be a better player, better teammate, and a better person on and off the field. His work ethic got serious. The way he approached practice, the way he approached the film study, the way he approached his leadership just increased tenfold. A lot of people try to give me credit for it, but shoot, all I do is just tell people what to line up. I don't know what he's doing when he's at home. I don't know what he's doing right now, but I know that he's working, and that's all I care about. And it's the proof is in the pudding. He balled out this past year. Earned him an All-Pro, first team All-Pro. I told him that's something I haven't even done. So now I gotta up my game up now. So I told him one of the coolest things he did was he didn't know he did it, but he challenged me because he said he wanted to be the best linebacker in the league. I'm like, well, that's where I'm at too. So let's get it. Let's get after it. Iron sharpens iron. So we're excited for this year coming in. Obviously, we had a whole lot of hype that we brought upon ourselves. It didn't go the way we wanted to, but that's life. So all we got to do is get back to work and try to prove the naysayers wrong.
We know you got a lot of tables to get to, so you got to get out of here. Before you go, who do you think has the edge in this one, and who's going to win on Sunday?
Who has the edge? Honestly, I think it's 50-50. You look at both sides at each position. All the matchups are great. You want to say one team wants it for revenge, but the other team wants it to prove that they have a great dynasty. So when you put revenge and dynasty together, I think it's the same thing. So I think it's going to come down to turnovers, as it always does, and which offensive line and defensive line controls the game.
Okay. CJ Mosley, really appreciate it. Also, Chunky Sacks Hunger. Chunky Sacks Hunger. I actually do love the spicy chicken noodles. So everyone, get you some chunky, spicy chicken noodle.
Pretty good.
Hey,
appreciate you, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, good luck next year.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Yeah. CJ Mosley. We're just getting everybody coming through here.
Getting everybody. Linebacker Central right now. Yeah. LBU.
Yeah. I always liked Chunky Soup. I didn't know they were going to get me so many great interviews, though.
Seriously, I actually do have a lot of those. I'm a massive fan of those.
Yeah. But they don't give us any break between these either.
No, we don't. I may have died, but that's okay. No, put that down for a second because we might be having another beverage coming in. And again, we want to make sure we promote what they're rocking. How this goes.
Yeah, it's tough. No, this is Frito-Lay and PepsiCo Foundation. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Patrick Allen, nice to meet you.
Sterling. Love the outfits.
Thank you.
Sterling, look at you guys all fancy over here.
You guys I look like the schlub here in the middle. Everyone's got suits on.
We're used to it.
We try.
So who are you guys working with?
Taste of the NFL, which is the largest fundraising mechanism of Super Bowl week, an NFL-sanctioned event produced by Gen Youth. And the idea is to raise funds to statistically and categorically eliminate student hunger in America.
Yeah, we were talking to some folks that were representing Gen Youth yesterday. It sounds like a really important program.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, if there's anything more important than feeding hungry kids, if anyone out there is for keeping kids hungry, please let me know, because I'd like to make an appointment with them sometime and talk to them about it. Yeah. And we have the dollars to do it. We have the distribution system, the mechanisms to do it. It costs a rounding error, $17 billion a year is what it would cost, and the federal government isn't doing anything about it. And by the way, that's been the case for 40 years. Yeah. So, public-private partnerships, NGOs, great sponsors like, Quaker and Frito-Lay and PepsiCo Foundation are helping us do that. And the help of amazing current players, vets, Hall of Famers. We're going to have as many players as are going to be playing in the game on Sunday over at the Keep Memory Alive Center, along with 40 chefs, and it's going to be an extremely... Miss America's going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Silent. Oh, look at it. Go, wow.
Oh, no, come on.
Silent, did you see that? Did you see that reaction?
It might be the stash. It's the stash right here. Yeah. We're going linebacker to linebacker to linebacker right here. I love asking linebackers because I think it's such a unique position, so versatile. You have to do so many different things. What's the hardest part about playing linebacker, and what's something that you truthfully enjoy playing linebacker?
Well, to be able to play linebacker, you have to have that quick read and reaction skills. You're right there in the mix of everything. The safety's got a little bit more time to read the pass. The defensive linemen, they don't have to play the pass. Yeah. They just have to play the run and rush a quarterback. So as a linebacker, you're right there, and it's happening so quick, and you're a key component of the defense. If the linebackers don't play well, the defense normally doesn't. So that's one of the intricacies of the position that I really like and admire. And, I was able to excel in the position because I was fast, I was strong. I actually ran a 4.42.
My goodness.
Lord.
It would come from Jamaica.
Look at those shoulders.
Well.
It's terrifying.
That was like 40 pounds ago. Believe it or not, I'm like almost 280. I'm ashamed to say it. But I was 240 when I played. And coming out of college, I ran that at 234 pounds. I went to Syracuse University. I was fortunate to be that hybrid linebacker that had the strength, speed, that can be able to cover wide receivers and still be able to play the run.
You look like a pretty trim 280. I'll just say that. I look like a deflated beach ball over here. So during your time in the NFL, you played for 3 teams. You played Miami, Houston, Oakland. What was the hardest opposing stadium that you had to play in?
The hardest stadium I had to play in, let me think about that. Because normally, as a defense, when you go on the road, you don't have to deal with the noise, right?
Yeah.
Because the opposing team wants it to be quiet so the offense could really call the plays and hear what they're doing.
Sure.
Right? But I didn't like playing in Oakland, that's for sure. So the Las Vegas Raiders now, they have a really nice locker room. So that's I don't know what the travel team locker room look, but I think it's nicer than it was in Oakland.
Yeah. You're sitting there going, maybe I need to suit up and play edge now.
It's kind of like, I think they wanted to punish the opposing team when they came into the the stadium, made them be miserable before the game. Yeah. So I didn't like that. But normally playing out there, it's not really. Because the crowd is normally quiet. The hostile part happens when the offense go on the field.
Yeah.
Andrew, for you, on your travels, I know you've eaten a lot of bizarre food, right? Been eating a lot of weird food out there. What's the one that looked the most awful from the outside, but actually tasted good?
Deep-fried little baby ducklings and chicks sold on the side of the road in rural Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, 6 or 7 to a bag, eviscerated, marinated, deep-fried, and served with a little bit of sweet fish sauce, chilies, mint, cilantro on there. I crave it. I seek it out when I'm over in that part of the world. You just hold on to the beak and eat the whole thing, and they are, if you ate one right now, it would curl your toes. Those have been on my training table for years. I just want to say
it's curling my toes thinking about it.
That is.
No, they're delicious.
I'm an adventurous eater, though.
I couldn't do it, man. I'm soft.
Sure, you could. It looks like a little piece of fried chicken, and they're little baby ducks and geese and chicken. They're just fantastic.
I had a pig face in a restaurant in Cleveland once for brunch. I just had a tough time with it. It was really good, but about halfway through,
I know the restaurant that you had it in.
Yeah.
Probably Greenhouse Tavern.
Yes.
Yeah, they were serving that. Jonathan Sawyer's an amazing chef.
Yeah.
They confit the boned out the pig head, confit it, and then roasted it. So it was very crispy.
Yeah.
And when you hit those pockets of meat that are in there, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Those big pockets of fat, less delicious.
Yeah, it's a
less
tricky
delicious.
eat.
It's a tricky thing to eat.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the good one that was bizarre. What was the most bizarre one that was bad?
The worst?
Yeah.
Worst thing I ever ate was dinner at your house last night.
Man,
I didn't know pork chops could be abused in the way that you did.
I like them crispy.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
like
It's
was a
to
little
go with the
overcooked.
fattier cut. Now, why would I say that to you? You're such a nice young man. No, I mean, the weirdest stuff is always the fermented, rotted, horrific thing that's buried in a jar or at the edge of the ocean and someone made. But, one man's weird is another man's wonderful. And when I started to eat these things and I realized someone's grandmother made it, and then I started to realize, well, I had it on this island. It wasn't that good, but a year later, I had it over here, and it was delicious. And I realized, oh, my God, it is just like pork chops. You can either cook it the right way or cook it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it just depends who's doing the cooking.
Yeah. So I brought my wife along with me. She's 6 months pregnant, so we're kind of treating this as our little bit of a baby moon. I got some free time later this weekend with her. She's a big foodie. We're in Las Vegas. She's never been to Las Vegas before. Is there one thing she should eat here in Las Vegas if we have time to do it?
Well, I mean, now I'm giving away all my secrets, but I think, arguably one of the most unique and wonderful experiences is to dine late night at a restaurant called Aburiya Raku.
Okay.
Aburiya Raku. RAKU. It's a Japanese izakaya. They fly in almost everything from Japan every day. It's a lot of cooked food. It's not a sushi bar, right? But it is some of the most delicious food that's being cooked right now in this or any city. After midnight, 1 a.m, it turns into you see a lot of chefs there because they all want to go and eat in this incredible place. It really is a fantastic little Japanese izakaya.
Easy table to get, huh?
No.
Can you make a call for us? Saturday
Maybe.
night? That would be amazing.
Who did you model your game after growing up? Was there a certain player that you're like? Because, again, you were unique. You were that hybrid role. You see a lot of those guys now, right? Even Jamal Adams, for example. He's a safety that also kind of plays up in the box. The Chiefs have a guy, Drew Tranquil, at linebacker, who's a little bit of a hybrid. He can drop into coverage very easy. He can get after the quarterback.
Yes.
Did you have someone that you modeled your game after?
So, I didn't start playing football until 11th grade in high school. I played soccer. I'm originally from Jamaica. My coach convinced me to play football. It took him 4 weeks to convince me. He said, football starts 2 weeks before soccer. Come out. If you like it, stay. If you don't like it, go back to soccer, right? And I played defensive end the first year. And he said, line up here, don't be offsides, and wherever you see the football, just go get it, right? And that's all I did. I played in 4 games. I didn't even know what a first down was. So I just wanted to tell you how. So Lawrence Taylor, I'm doing the camp with Lawrence Taylor today, actually. We do like free football camps for the kids. And I remember after my first year getting a full scholarship to Syracuse and playing my senior year, they wanted me to play linebacker. And my coach was like, you're going to be running off the edge like Lawrence Taylor, and like LT. And I was like, what do you mean I'm going to be fast like lightning? He was like, no. He was like, Lawrence Taylor, you don't know who Lawrence Taylor is? Because I didn't watch the game or anything. So as I went into college and I started watching guys like Ray Lewis, right? Because he was fast. He ran around and he made a lot of plays. Kind of like, I'd be like, I can do that, right? So I used to watch him play. I watched guys like Derrick Brooks, Hardy Nicholson, those guys. And so as I got more into playing football and learning about the game, those are the players that I like watching. Junior Seau, I played with Junior Seau and Zach Thomas. I used to have 2 great mentors at linebacker when I played in Miami. So the journey kept on continue to develop. And I had a great linebacker coach, Johnny Hollins, who is in the Super Bowl now. He's the linebacker coach for the San Francisco 49ers. He was my coach in Houston. He coached me and D'Amico.
So
over there.
I think we know who you're rooting for then. Not only the Oakland and the Raiders, but you're like, yeah, man.
No, you always got to go with, I've a relationship there with my coach, also Kyle Shanahan. He was the quarterback coach in Houston when I was over there. So, and can't take him away from the Chiefs. Mahomes, he's like what you call him, like a Michael Jordan when it comes to playoff time. He just kicks it up another notch. And Kelsey, man, this guy, I don't know how they leave that guy open. I'm like, have they been watching the film all year? I mean, this guy is
like, what are you doing?
Wide open.
To know that we're scratching our heads the same way you're scratching your head. It's amazing. It's like just put a man on him like glue.
Right. Andrew, do you have a sports background?
I do. We played together at Syracuse.
Okay.
I didn't get as much field time, and I also wasn't drafted by an NFL team, but I was third-string JV, Dalton Tigers, 1977.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've seen any of our games.
But I watched all their tapes.
All the
it's
time.
on ESPNU.
A child of the 70s, I did football, wrestling, and then baseball, tennis in the spring. And I kept playing baseball all the way through even intramurals. I went to a college, didn't have a lot of sports going on, so I was a second baseman, and I still play. Is anything where you can keep score? I mean, one thing that chefs and football players have in common, I've learned, we're very competitive people. If there's something that we can keep score at, I'll play you. I like, we're not afraid. It's like, just if we keep score, let's go out and do it. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we know you guys got a lot of tables to get to. We appreciate you stopping by. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
and give me a call about that reservation.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Andrew Zimmern.
I hope you at least like Kansas City barbecue, though. You do? Okay, good. Good.
San Francisco seafood.
Okay,
yes,
fair.
There we go.
That's
there
fair.
we go.
I was getting a little nervous, the ducklings. I don't know if it's a man who can eat some burn ends, but he can do it all.
Should we start a food podcast?
No, because I would not eat half of the things. Richard, you want to do me a favor? It's great talk radio when I ask for something off air. Can I get a water?
Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going, Patrick?
How
you doing?
Nice to meet you, Ryan. Welcome.
Yes.
So what brings you to the Super Bowl?
Oh, my first experience. Never been able to experience it. And I was like, why not? I can finally do that. I'm retired from my own career, so...
Right, yeah.
Football to football, huh?
Football to football.
Do you ever get upset? Maybe not, but when Americans call football soccer and then football. Because I have to imagine, because 99% of the world's like,
yes,
that's wrong.
Yes. I don't think upset is the right word, but I do sometimes feel like why do Americans want to be different? Like, why don't they accept that it's football globally recognized? But and at the same time also I wondered who decided to call American football, because I feel like, is it not mostly played with the hands?
It is
mostly right? So to me it was like, I don't know.
Yeah. You played in 2 World Cups. So, that's a worldwide massive event, similar to what's kind of going on here at the Super Bowl. What's that pressure like?
Yeah. It's I would say it's a total different pressure than normal league games. The world is watching. Your country is watching. If you are part of the World Cup, you know that you have been picked to be the best. You've been selected as the best player of your country, and trust me, they can select a lot of players. And if you're one of those fortunate who is picked, there's pressure. People are watching. People are judging. Did he deserve to be there, or did they have to give it to someone who wasn't selected? So it's a different pressure.
Going from obviously the Netherlands national team, you also play for some bigger places like Ajax, Liverpool. What is it as far as the difference between the highest level for your country versus now you're playing for your club?
I would say the main difference is you don't spend a lot of time with the players of the national team. So you come together for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks you play, for example, 2 important games like World Cup qualifiers. So the thing is often for coaches, and that's very difficult, to try and get a game plan in order and try to get the best out of those players. Now, sometimes they deal with injuries, sometimes they deal with stress, and it's not always easy for the coach of the national team to get all the players fit and in form and in shape, ready for a World Cup game or a World Cup qualifier. And with your normal team, you're with each other every day. You can train, you have way more players to pick from, and I think that's the main difference.
I'm pretty sure I watched you in the 2010 World Cup. I had a good buddy in New York City who was from Holland and took us to the bar, and so we were playing. Is the cheer, do I remember it right? Do they say Hup, Holland, Hup? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we were rooting for you guys.
Right.
That was a good. How was that 2010 run for you?
Man, it was a great experience. It was, of course, in South Africa. I remember the first game when I forgot what it's called, but the whole crowd had like these horns.
Those horns.
Not kazoos.
No.
Vuvuzelas.
Yes. So it was very difficult for the coach to communicate with the players or for the players to communicate with each other. That was something that we had to get used to in the beginning. But overall experience, I mean, we knocked out Brazil, the big Brazil at that time, with great players. And we were lucky enough to reach the final, but not lucky enough to win it.
Okay, little history thing here. I have to know, because now I'm actually talking to someone who was born in the Netherlands, so now I can ask, why is it Holland, Netherlands, and Dutch? Why the three?
Well, I mean, I don't know why they say the Netherlands or Holland. I have to double check that. But Dutch is more as in what you are. So I'm Dutch as in I'm American.
Okay.
I speak Dutch.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't say I speak Netherlands, no.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So Dutch is basically the form of saying, to identify yourself. And the country, it's called the Netherlands, or people call it Holland. I don't know.
Now, you played for a lot of different clubs in your career. You spent some time at Liverpool. That's a team that I support. Started getting more into European soccer, football, back in 2015. What was it like standing at Anfield for the first time and hearing that crowd sing "You'll Never Walk Alone"?
Incredible. I was 20 years of age when I joined Liverpool, and it was the first time me living abroad, but also moving out of my parents' home. So I was not only living at myself for the first time, but in a total new culture and country. And growing up, I was always an Arsenal fan, so I didn't really pay much attention to Liverpool. But as soon as I got in touch with Liverpool and I signed for the club and I learned about it, it was goosebumps. And first time, it was incredible.
Yeah, I've never had the chance to go yet. I really would love to go and see a match there. What do you think about the team this year? They're obviously, I feel like I'm in a haze right now. They're still top of the table, right?
They are. And of course, as a Liverpool supporter, we got some sad news with Jurgen Klopp leaving, unfortunately. But hopefully that gives the team way more motivation to try and win it, not only for the coach, but for the fans who are also had to cope with this disappointing news. But they have all the ingredients to make it out there, and all they need is focus, commitment, what they have, try to fine-tune the little details that they still can improve.
How do you maintain that level of excellence? I think that's the hardest thing. Obviously, the Reds have had a really great run with Jurgen Klopp. Then you see what they're doing over there in Manchester. How do they get up every year? To me, it's got to be so difficult, especially when you win trophies over and over and over.
Yeah.
Again.
It's not easy. And at the end, it's the coach's job to try and keep the motivation level high. But as a player, after a short break, you go in pre-season again. It's going to be a long season again, a tough season. You're trying to do as much as you can to prepare your body and to prepare mentally, and that's not always easy.
Yeah.
How have you seen the MLS grow? Obviously, the MLS is, from even 10 years ago until now, it used to be, the MLS. I know a lot of players from overseas are like, that's not real. That is. But now I think it's grown into at least respectability now. How have you seen them put all this money, resources, and seen the growth of MLS right here in America?
I still believe MLS has a long way to go, and therefore, in my opinion, I feel like they should change a few rules. Not only should they change the salary caps and make it more lucrative for Europeans to want to come to MLS way earlier. What you notice now, is that players often come at the end of their career. And even now with Messi, yes, the whole Messi mania was good, maybe for business and for selling tickets and whatever, but you might only get 2 years out of Messi. Now, if it was way more lucrative, maybe you could have had Messi for 5 or 6 years earlier. Same with Ronaldo, same with a lot of these other players who have been playing, whether it was Steven Gerrard or Kaká or David Villa or Pirlo who came in the past. They all came at the end of their career, and that's simply because, they don't want to be at their peak of their career playing with, respectfully, football players who maybe are not understanding that level of football. And I think also another thing, in my opinion, that they could change to try and compete is trying to put European minds and European ex-athletes in places, not only in coaching roles, but maybe also in board staff, who can make decisions that is good for elevating soccer.
It's just hard, right? There's so much money in European soccer. You're almost sort of doomed to be a minor league unless you have an amazing influx of cash.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go play?
Yeah.
I think it's. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of big pro sports here. We don't have to have them all.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But you would like to see. I would like to see the game be. It's popular here, but even more popular because as somebody who didn't grow up watching soccer, once I started to get into it, I would have never noticed. If I watched an MLS game, I would have never noticed it. I never played soccer. When I started watching the EPL, and then I caught like an MLS game, I was like, oh, like you could just see the difference, and that's not a knock on those guys, but there's just a difference in quality.
Yeah, it's you can kind of compare it now with the culture here, right? Growing up, whether you wanted to become as a kid an NBA player or a football player, it's exactly that, but in Europe and the rest of the world, right? So it's the way they live it, the intensity, the culture, the way you grew up with it. It's ingrained in a lot of kids from young age.
Are you an American football fan as well?
I don't want to say I'm a fan, but I'm definitely now.
Intrigued.
I respect the sports not only because I think they have to do just as much as we have to do as soccer players, and that is live the right lifestyle, eat well, prepare well. Be in the right mental space, and not only what they do with their bodies, right? It's intense. So I respect the sports a lot, and that's why also one of the main reasons why I'm here is to learn more about the culture and about the sports and about the games and the players.
Are you going to go to the game on Sunday?
Well, it's a funny story. I just thought I'm going to fly in here, go to the stadium and buy a ticket outside, and that's far from the truth.
Sure is.
You can do that in Europe, but apparently not here. And also one of the things that surprised me was the cheapest tickets was the price of it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch it at home.
Oh, welcome to the club, man. It is a unique thing here. I mean, it is.
I didn't brought my savings to America to watch this game.
Didn't bring a piggy bank with you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Ryan, it was awesome having you stop by. It was
Thank
really
you so
great
much.
to
Thanks
meet
for
you.
having me.
Yeah,
Thanks
go
for
Reds.
having me. Yes, thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Oh man, that was awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah, really cool. It's cool to get to we're talking about the Chiefs here. I got my red teams. Being a Liverpool fan, getting to see a former Liverpool player and ask him questions about the European game is a lot of fun.
Very, very cool. What's up next? 10-minute break. Yeah, Zach, you wanna swing through for a second? I'm gonna take a quick little break ski if you don't mind. No, Zach, we need you for a second. Swing through, pal.
Come on.
Do you know how many liquids I've consumed today?
He's not gonna do it.
Sorry, I don't have a bucket here. I am getting kicked out. I love that. I can't believe that he just flew here going, you know what, I'll just get a ticket. I'll just go outside and just go out and get a ticket.
Yeah.
All right, Bess is going to come join you. Thank you.
He looks at the he goes up to the window, right, and says, hey, I'm just going to buy a ticket. And it's like, that's not how it works. And he looks at the price and, like me, says, oh, I'm not getting in. And this is surprisingly a first. If you are a longtime listener or watcher, viewer of the Arrowhead Addict podcast, you've heard us mention this gentleman. You've probably seen him in the chat occasionally, and his brother is one of our co-hosts. Here's the co-founder of ArrowheadAddict.com, my boss, Zachary Best. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is this. I didn't know that this was going to happen. I'm a little bit flabbergasted. The guys and gals in the chat, they like to give Adam the business. They talk about his mustache, his facial hair. What's your opinion on Adam's mustache right now?
That stash is scaring his niece and nephews.
Yeah.
But quite impressive stash.
Yeah, it is, and it makes me jealous because I cannot grow nearly the mustache that man could grow, and I would kind of like to. I think it would be fun. But the one time I looked at myself with a mustache, it was a no-go.
No, and as his little brother, I get very jealous of the facial hair he can grow.
Yeah.
But I encourage the chat to keep giving him the grief.
Yeah, he deserves it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you started FanSided with your brother. It started as just Arrowhead Addict, and now it is this massive company with, I don't know, over 70. We have 70 employees now, something like that.
80 plus.
80 plus employees. We just had a big hiring spree. We go to the Super Bowl. We're here on Radio Row. We're interviewing Hall of Famers. Could you ever have imagined when you started that blog back in 2007 that it would turn into this?
Not at all. We really just wanted to give Chiefs fans more content, more critical content. The team was pretty miserable back in some of those days.
Wasn't good.
And it's just with guys like you, gals like everyone else, part of the crew, it's just been amazing growth. Really proud of everybody that works at FanSided and living a dream, living an absolute dream.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think as somebody who also was able to turn his love of sports and of the Kansas City Chiefs into a career, it's kind of neat to have been a part of that journey, but also to sit back and see all the other people that have come along and worked for FanSided since then. You know, it's really helped change some people's lives. It's helped launch careers, whether it be here at FanSided. We've had people go on to CBS, NBC Sports, ESPN, to work for professional sports teams. How gratifying is that to say, hey, I started a little blog with my brother and we were having fun and messing around, and now, you know, we've been able to help people.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of my most proud moments is I'm a dreamer. And seeing other people be able to chase their dreams and live out those dreams motivates me every day. And as we say, we love to everybody to stick around FanSided, but seeing some of our OGs or other people go on and take great careers at ESPN, CBS, like you said, NBC, Athletic, you know, just so many great FanSiders out there working for other outlets, and that excites us, and we continue to invest in our own people and grow this thing together.
All right, now we're here working with the Special Olympics, a cause that's near and dear to all of our hearts. Have you heard about this tattoo thing with me?
Actually, that's the only reason why I joined you today. I'm not. It's typically not my forte, you know. But seeing that late last night, this broke, and someone sent this to me, that a Joker tattoo we're raising a minimum
$1,000, and the Chiefs have to win a Super Bowl. Win the Super Bowl.
Oh, the Chiefs have to win.
They have to win, and that's part of the deal. But listen.
Okay. But we're still raising money for a great cause.
Yes, exactly. Okay. It's up to $260. And I got to be honest with you, I'm getting a little nervous, and I don't know why I picked $1,000. I should have done like $10,000. It might have raised more money for Special Olympics, and I might not have had to get the tattoo. Are you considering, as somebody who's my boss, are you starting to doubt my judgment and soundness of mind at this point?
Well, knowing that you've had tattoos, I don't have a tattoo, so be a little bit more risky for me, I guess.
Sure.
But knowing, well, also your love for the Chiefs, and we all want a Chiefs win on Sunday.
Yeah.
And the link's pinned in the chat, so
yeah,
please
we don't have to tell them where to go donate. They could just donate to They don't have to go to that page.
And how about this? Since we're at 260 right now, I'll just go ahead and match that 260.
Oh no, see that's not fair.
No?
You can't come in and big time this thing. That's not part of the deal, because I know that you would love nothing more than to see me have to get this tattoo, this Joker tattoo. Yeah, it feels unfair.
I think it's totally fair. I think the community. Yes, see, we're at 520 now. So everybody in the chat, if we can just get a few more going here, we'll get this thing taken care of today, and then keep raising some money throughout the weekend for Special Olympics, and maybe we can even shoot the tattoo at the tattoo parlor as you get it, because we know the Chiefs are going to win on Sunday.
The Chiefs are going to win. How are you feeling, by the way, as a Chiefs fan? How confident are you feeling heading into this game against this explosive 49ers offense?
I'm never confident as a Chiefs fan, but obviously with Mahomes and the crew, confident. I just sat in a panel where the FanDuel president said that 80% of the money right now is on the Chiefs, which gets me a little worried.
It makes me nervous.
I'm very nervous when there's that much money riding on one team. But at the end of the day, actually, opening night also helped us. I love that the San Francisco fans were booing Travis and Patrick, really getting the team motivated. And I heard early this morning that the defense and offensive line were getting into in practice, but the team's really motivated, ready to play this game. Travis says this is the most important one. So I still like the Chiefs, but no doubt they're playing the other best team in the NFL, and just hope for a good game. But I'd like a little, maybe, give us a little bit of lead early so we don't have to sweat the whole game.
Yeah, there's some people out there that think that the Chiefs are going to run away with this one. Our own Matt Connor had me ready to run through a wall the other day when he was talking about why he thinks the Chiefs are going to win. But yeah, man, I'm nervous. Vegas is not a town that's in the business of losing money. So to have all of that money on the Chiefs right now and the 49ers still being the favorite, it makes me nervous because, that's going to mean Vegas is going to want the 49ers side of that. They're going to be rooting for 49ers. And the other thing that's bad for Vegas is because of the Taylor Swift thing, right?
Yes.
There's all kinds of money coming in on Travis Kelce props, Travis Kelce for MVP. If Travis Kelce wins MVP, Vegas may just shut down.
Right. I would be interested to see what the amount of money going on Travis Kelce props. That would be an interesting stat to hear about. I'm sure somewhere we can find it, but definitely a lot of money. Definitely, the ticket prices have spiked back up, and they kind of started to gradually go down. But you can see Vegas's impact. This is a huge Super Bowl. Give Las Vegas a lot of credit. This is a great place to have a Super Bowl. Almost feel like they should have it here every year, but I do like the rotation as well, though.
It's great because it's as somebody who's covered a couple Super Bowls, having everything be in this one facility here at the Mandalay Bay and then being like basically across the street from the stadium, you're just able to get to everything, especially, of course, we were lucky enough to get rooms at the Mandalay Bay, so I can roll out of bed, come down on the elevator, and just roll right into Radio Row. Sterling Holmes is back.
Hey,
he couldn't handle the marathon.
No, you can sit for 1 second. You got to move over here, though.
Okay. They're moving me.
Swing through, put the mic down, swing over. I heard some talk of a tattoo coming Patrick's way. We're up to 260 right now. Guys, we need you to donate. Every what's that? It's been in the chat. Pinned? It's pinned in the chat. PINNED. Okay, we need you to donate. Every dollar counts. This is a huge thing we're trying to do. Let Patrick get a tattoo. We need this. That ink needs a home, and that home is Patrick's ass. Come on.
Now listen, I didn't say where I was going to get the tattoo. It's not going on the lower back if it happens. And I said it was going to be very small.
I get to choose. These are the rules that I have just come up with, okay? This is going to happen.
You guys are doing me dirty. It's up to it's gone up since we've been sitting here talking about it.
Thank
you. 310.
Thank you. Every dollar counts. Every dollar counts. We need your support. For just a donation of $5, that ink will find a home.
Are we going to start playing Sarah McLachlan?
In the arms of an angel.
Yeah.
We're up to 310 now. In the arms of an angel.
And by the way, this has got to happen by the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. If it doesn't reach 1,000 by the Sunday.
The Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. I know we're acting extra rules like Chris Jones did in his contract. Didn't matter because he knew he was going to hit him. Just how I know we're getting a tattoo on Patrick.
This is outrageous.
All right, Max, come on, I got to sit down and do real work.
Are we going to do some actual work here? Oh, I can have a conversation about this. Mack Hollins, wide receiver, Falcons, played for the Raiders, played for the Dolphins. Hey, Mack. How you doing?
How
Patrick.
you doing? Man, that's the best hair in the game. What?
It's good.
I knew it was good. Like, I knew the hair was electric, but that is phenomenal.
Pretty intense, right? Fantastic. And you got to tuck it in the helmet so people don't really get to see.
They don't get to see the actual.
It is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
You guys got to try some
Oh, we got jerky.
We're trying jerky. Dude, you guys, thank you to GE Profile Smart Indoor Smoker.
Yeah, get there.
Oh, baby. Oh,
so
baby.
I'm a big smoker guy. I
we got a
don't have an
conversation.
indoor smoker.
We got the
and
conversation.
and I've been struggling because
Oh.
I live in Chicago.
Yep.
It's friggin' cold now.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was trying to make a pork shoulder for the AFC Championship
Yeah.
game, and it was like negative 11 degrees out there. I couldn't even keep my pit up to temperature.
Yeah.
So I need to get one of these. Is what you're telling me.
Yeah, like this is literally the reason that it was made.
Oh
So
my
GE
God.
Profile Smart Indoor Smoker.
Wait.
Okay.
You can fit a whole shoulder inside of it. Sits on the counter, no smoke. I made this out of some Top Round.
You made this?
Made this out of some Top Round. Throw it in the
Matt,
smoker.
we're hanging out, pal.
I'm telling
Great
you.
hair.
Making
You
us
got the
food.
smoker.
Radio.
Oh, man.
4 or 5 hours. Control it on the app. You can literally go wherever. Because that's the main problem. The weather and smelling like smoke are the two worst things.
How does it work without like giving you carbon monoxide poisoning?
Yeah. So there's a filter within it.
Uh-huh.
A catalytic filter, maybe sciencey stuff.
Yeah, science stuff.
That's able to filter out all the smoke though. And you literally there's a button, clear smoke, takes about 5 minutes. You open it because you can open it like midway,
Yeah.
and it'll all the smoke will be gone. It's pretty incredible.
My fiance is about to be so mad at me when I come home. I'm going to fly home. Where's your clothes? Don't need them. I got the GE.
I got the GE $300 off at Best Buy right now too. It's like you got it for a discount.
Oh, man, you're basically stealing at this point.
Yeah.
You're stealing at this point.
Yeah, because we cover the Chiefs here.
Yep.
And so, that's big time barbecue country.
Big time barbecue.
People listening to this podcast aren't messing around when it comes to barbecue.
Yeah.
Do you find it works just as well as an outdoor smoker? Flavors just as good?
Exact same. You put pellets in. You can put the same flavor of pellets you want. Significantly less. You only need like 2 cups for entire. You can put 14-pound brisket in there.
This is really good.
Tastes the exact same.
Do you just rock around? I know you go barefoot pregame, right? Are you barefoot now?
We don't put shoes on
Do you not rock shoes at all?
unless it's forced.
Wait.
They're unnecessary.
Now I got to look at you during the game, and all of a sudden it's shoeless Joe Jackson out there.
I'm telling you, if they let me.
What's with the shoeless stuff?
I've been like completely shoeless for 2 years. Outside of the airports or bathrooms or like times when I have to wear
Do
it.
you walk the strip barefoot?
Yeah.
No.
New York City, Las Vegas, Miami, it doesn't matter. They're all the same to me.
What are the bottom of your feet like? If you build up calluses, like
They're not bad. They're because the only time I really run is on grass.
Sure.
Like I run barefoot on grass.
Sure.
If you start running through the woods and stuff,
yeah,
they'll start getting cut open, and then you callus it. There's part of it that are very calloused.
Yeah.
How'd this start?
So when I was in Philly, I got hurt and wasn't coming back from injury, and I was like, "What is going on?" Ended up finding these guys from Australia. Like I was on YouTube.
Of course, it's Australia.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube looking at videos and team meetings and stuff because I'm still not healthy and I'm watching them on mute. So I ended up finding them, and I'm like, maybe that'll work. They did body work stuff, but they also do breathing and cold plunges and barefoot work. All their stuff is barefoot. So ended up flying them out to Philly, and they worked on me. This was 7 years ago. And then every year since then, we've done stuff and worked together, and now they're my main trainers.
what's the thinking behind it? Like, what is it? I've heard stuff about being connected to the earth.
Yeah, so there's the grounding aspect, which is the release of negative ions from your body into the earth, so you're not so charged up.
Yeah.
But then from a strength aspect, I try to relate it to a tree. If you have a big tree with weak roots and the wind comes, it'll easily knock over.
Right.
But if you have strong root system, then the tree will withstand much more. So your legs are now the trunk. And people skip the feet, and they're like, "Why is my ankle messed up? Why is my knee so messed up?" Well, because you had no strength in your feet.
They were making fun of me. We got here Sunday night.
Yeah.
Never been to Vegas. I walked the strip in brand new shoes. My feet are they're bloody, man. It looks like it's an MMA fight down there.
Yeah,
and they lost, right? They lost. But if I would have gone that, I think I should have done it. They were laughing just take your shoes off. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Mack would have told me to do it, and it would have worked.
Sure.
What have the team's response been as far as when you did that? Have they been a little bit of pushback? Is there a contract? Okay, void if step on glass?
No, it's at this point in my career, word has traveled around enough in
Sure.
the NFL. They're like, all right, Mack is who he is. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna come to work and do what he needs to do, but he's gonna do it in
do it his way.
with no shoes on and like some little tiny shorts and a hoodie, like maybe. Like,
that's kind of like me is around the house.
Yeah,
The
like-
tiny shorts and the hoodie.
Like
you know,
whatever
gotta
you wear
have-
around the house is basically what I wear out. Like, I just wear whatever. So teams are just like, because like I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna practice hard, I'm gonna play hard. So it doesn't take away from my on the field
Sure.
stuff. It's just like that's who I am. It's what I have no interest in throwing shoes on.
So what do you do if, like, okay, you're here, right?
Yep.
And the bathrooms here are really clean, actually. The staff's incredible.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. But that's not always the case in public bathrooms.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you carry something along with you? Like,
Yeah, so I'll usually have like a pair of socks, or I'll have like these super thin slides that like literally can roll up.
Slide 'em on.
and I just slide them on and go in the bathroom.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah.
I want to say thank you. You helped bring a Super Bowl to Philly, right?
I'm glad I could.
I lived there.
There we
I'm
go.
a Chiefs guy, but I lived there for 3 years. My
Yeah.
first year there, they you guys won a Super Bowl. You helped me drink a beer on City Hall, so for that I applaud you.
There we go.
But obviously we're here. What was that like leading up for you into the Super? Because it's such a different experience,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
such a unique experience for a player. I'm assuming 2 weeks. You're still in it. You have this whole media
Yeah.
circus going on. How do you handle it as a player?
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously a rookie, so it was, to me, I'm like, oh, this is just how it kind of
It's normal.
This is how things roll. You know, I'm like, I might have 7 or 8 of these things by the time
sure.
I'm done playing. I don't. But yeah, it's funny. I always go back to the interview Alshon did while he was out there, and he's like, "This shit's kind of dumb. Like, I just want to play. Like, we out here doing interviews a week in advance. Like, let's just go play."
Yeah.
And I really agree with it. It's just like I understand that's part of the game and part of the NFL, whatever. But sometimes you just want to like, I'm doing all this stuff, this publicity stuff. Like, let's go line it up.
Yeah.
Like, let's practice, line it up, and let's go. But it's on this side of it, when you're not playing it, it's very cool to experience all this and see like how big the NFL is. Because sometimes as players, you don't really realize like how big it is.
How much chatter comes in? Like, how much as a player did you hear? Maybe as a rookie, you're not quite as into it when you were a
Yeah.
rookie, but how much did you hear chatter-wise from all this? Because obviously, Chiefs, we're talking about, Mahomes, he's been there before, he's going to get it done. Kyle Shanahan's never done it before. If you're a 49er, you're saying, CMC's going to run all over you, stuff like that. As a player, how much do you hear that stuff? How much do you listen to it? How much is it used as motivation, or is it blocked out?
Like this far into the playoffs and stuff, it's not as big of a thing. Like that Philly year was like, oh, we were the underdogs week 1 in the playoffs. All right, it's the same.
Yeah.
You're the underdog. Like you can't. The narrative doesn't change much unless something like drastic happens to one of your players or team. But you kind of tuned it out by then. Like the biggest thing is staying normal. Not trying to become a hero on Super Bowl day. Just doing the same stuff you've been doing all year.
So release is so important for a wide receiver, trying to get off the line.
Yep.
Who's the wide receiver right now that you think has the best get off
Devontae
the line?
Adams.
You're not even hesitating.
It's not even it's not even like a debate.
Yeah.
Like
he's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's very, very gifted at that.
Yeah.
I like a AI in basketball, just like the first step. It's like, how do you not cover him? I don't get it.
Yeah,
He's just
right.
doing this.
Right.
Like Devontae splits his feet and goes one way or the other way, but like if I do it, the same exact thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
But when he does it, it works.
Who's on your wide receiver Mount Rushmore?
All time?
All time.
Ooh. Calvin. It's just like their career stats.
I mean, just like
or just they had their best year.
However you want.
Because like a prime Julio.
Yeah, we got a lot of Julio.
A
from the
prime
guys.
Julio.
Yeah.
Obviously the old school. Randy Moss, Chris Carter's, all those guys. Devontae's up there.
Yeah.
Like being able to play with him too. Like he's up there.
Is it frustrating? Like, it's so hard to get to the level that you've gotten to. In most of your career, you were probably best player on the team, and then you get to the NFL, and then you're also really good. But you see a guy like Devontae Adams, and you're just like, I just can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you're always restarting. Like from high school, you were the best. Then you go to college, and you're not the best anymore. And then you got to become the best again. And then you get to NFL, and you're like, I'm not the best again. And so it's like that pursuit of like always being the best.
Yeah.
But it's great. I love being around dudes that are like phenomenal. Yeah. Like it's very boring to me when you're playing a game and guys aren't talking trash or guys like aren't bringing their best. Like I didn't come out here
Like just
Thank
check the
you.
box of like we played. Like I want us to be arguing the whole game. And then as soon as the game is over, like I'm cool. I don't care anymore.
Thank
but like
you.
that 60 minutes, like I want to talk as bad as you want to me.
I love the
I want your
smack
best.
talk. I'm team smack talk.
Yeah, like I want to like you get flagged for talking now. There's like a lot of things you get flagged for that I don't think you should be flagged. Like you should be able to say whatever you want.
Yeah.
To like within
somebody
reason,
saying
but, like,
something shouldn't have an impact on the game.
Yeah, like that. If I talk bad to you, that's me talking bad.
Yeah.
The standing over people. Sometimes you got to stand over somebody. But like I get the unnecessary roughness, but like standing over somebody, taunting is taunting. It's the NFL.
I know we gotta let Matt go right here, but I'm not kidding. That beef jerky
so good.
is
It's
incredible. The GE Profile Smart Indoor Smoker. I will legitimately be taking a look. Some people bring products by. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take a look. I will legit
Listen, I'm telling
take a
you.
look at this one.
$300 off at Best Buy. Make your own jerky and whatever else you want. If you're in KC and you can't smoke all year round, are you even in KC?
Yeah.
That's it.
Mac, appreciate you coming
Appreciate
by.
it, y'all. Appreciate it.
Hey, take it easy, Mac.
Thank you for the jerky. Oh man.
Any more? Y'all good?
No, we're okay.
I'm good right now. I got to keep talking.
I'm
That's
gonna
amazing.
talk to-
I'm not kidding. That
talking
is
to Bruce
phenomenal.
Smith here.
The seasonings too are really good. Yeah.
Fantastic.
You got something with that. You got something with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you saving.
I wanted to take more jerky, but I was like, I can't
We gotta talk
interview
more.
Bruce Smith while I'm eating a piece of jerky.
Wow.
Yeah. How you doing, Bruce? Patrick.
Howdy, Sterling. Nice to meet you as well.
Oh, it's another
We
M&Ms
got more
guy.
M&Ms.
All right.
There we go. I ate mine from Dan Marino this morning. So yeah, it's the M&M show. Don't worry about that.
Dan hooked us up. So you're working with. Tell us about your work with M&Ms, Bruce.
Well, got a call from my marketing company, Rubicon, and they told me about an exciting opportunity to do a commercial for M&Ms, and they told me who was the cast was going to be: Dan Marino, T.O., and Scarlett. It didn't take me long to say yes. So particularly with that crew and having been friends with Dan for so long and you know, Dan and I have this unique relationship where we're best of friends. But I sacked him more times than anybody in the history of the game.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's a love-hate relationship. Yeah.
He's still feeling some of those aches and pains,
Yeah,
I think, that you
yeah.
caused. I wanted to ask you, obviously, you're one of the greatest pass rushers of all time, 11-time All-Pro. You're in the Hall of Fame. You're on 2 all-decade teams, and then you recorded the record for most career sacks at 200. I wanted to ask you, I realized today is that I believe it was the 24th anniversary of when we lost Derek Thomas. Played during your era. Can you talk to me a little bit about what he brought to the game and how incredible a pass rusher he was?
Derek was one of a kind. Before there was Demarcus Ware and Von Miller, it was Derek Thomas. Nobody had that first step like Derek Thomas. His ability to be able to get to the quarterback, it was just remarkable. He was a dear friend, and losing him was heartbreaking. So for this to be the anniversary of that tragic day, it saddens me.
Yeah, we have a lot of, as Chiefs fans, we have a lot of fond memories of watching. We were talking to Marcus Spears earlier today, and he said he felt like we were really robbed when that happened.
Yeah, what an incredible talent in terms of his athletic ability and what he could do on the football field. But he was an even bigger person off of the football field and what he did for the community and young kids in his community. So that's what we've appreciated most about him, his heart and his willingness to give of his time and his money and his resources to make those that are underprivileged have a better life.
Do you think his record of 7 sacks in a game will ever be broken?
Well, it stood the test of time so far.
So has. Right? It sure has.
How have you seen pass rushers evolve from your time to now? Because you look at quarterback, it's very easy to say, okay, they've changed. You've seen some differences. Running back, I think, have changed. Wide receivers have changed. Not saying better or worse, just saying the game has been obviously more pass dominant. You look at what you've done, you might be having more sacks if you played in today's day and age.
100% I would.
But what would you say to the game itself? How have pass rushers changed from back when you played?
I really don't think they have changed. They might have tweaked a few things here and there. But the one thing about pass rushers, particularly from the defensive end standpoint, your ability to be able to bend and turn the corner is paramount. If you can't do that, you're going to be average to good. But if you can bend and you have the other tools to go along with that bend, you're going to be great.
Can you work on that, or is that something that's more natural?
It's natural. It is natural. You can work on it and you can get better at it. But there are certain guys that just has that ability to be able to bend around the corner. Myles Garrett, Von Miller. Some guys are built to rush the quarterback upright, and there are a few that are built to bend around the corner.
Is there a quarterback that you never got to sack that you regret?
Yeah. I wouldn't say regret. I would just say that first of all, I never played against him. We were supposed to play, but he was injured at the time. But I always wanted to sack my homeboy Michael Vick.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he was that elusive guy before this era of guys and their elusiveness now. But he was that guy, and plus, we're from the same area back at home. So I always wanted to play against him and get a sack and then have a little conversation with him after it was over.
How would you bring down a guy like Patrick Mahomes, right? The amount of dropbacks he takes, and then look at the sack numbers he takes, it's crazy. Like, he does not get brought down. He's not the most athletic guy out there, but somehow he makes you miss.
Yeah.
How would you try and take down a guy like Patrick Mahomes?
He just get him on the ground. Don't go for the kill shots unless you're coming from the blind side.
Yeah.
Concentrate on getting the ball out. He's an extraordinary talent. He's a student of the game. His athletic ability and his athleticism, although he talks about his dad bod quite a bit. But he's just an extraordinary athlete that's a student of the game that has put all of these tools together, and we happen to be in the presence of watching this greatness and this body of work unfold, and it's fascinating to see.
Yeah, he's incredibly elusive. And that's the thing about him. He's not like a Lamar, but you get back there. I think it's really smart. Just get him on the ground. Don't try to kill him.
Just get him on the ground.
Get your hands on him and get him down.
Just get him on the ground. Yeah. Don't allow him to duck up under you.
Right.
Don't allow him to give you that shoulder
that
turn.
The
little shimmy.
Yeah.
Just break down and get him on the ground.
Who was the hardest guy to tackle during your era to get a sack on?
Dan Marino.
Who was it?
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino?
Yeah. Quickest release in the NFL.
Yeah.
At the time. And he felt the pressure. He just got the ball out of his hands with a flicker of his wrist. He could throw the ball 60 yards. Obviously, him being a big man and not very mobile, he knew that was not an asset. But what an asset! The asset that he did have was the fact that he had that quick release, and he would always sidestep just to buy that fraction of a second to get the ball out of his hands.
Was there ever a tackle that gave you any issues? I mean, let's be real now. 200 sacks.
Yeah.
I don't think many gave you issues, but there's ever one guy you're like, how the heck does he have my number?
Yeah. Well, there are a few of them that really, and they're all Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Obviously, Anthony Munoz. When you start talking about left tackles, and Jonathan Ogden.
Yeah.
Walter Jones, who's another great one. When you talk about a body of work, and that's what I like to focus on.
Yeah.
That body of work and that longevity and so forth. Those are the two names that really stick out.
Okay, so we got a big game coming up here.
You think?
You got this Chiefs defense that I feel like was a little bit underrated throughout the course of the year. What do you see when you look at this Chiefs defense? Or do you think they're underrated?
I think Spags, and I think Chris Jones.
Yeah.
I love Chris Jones' game. Yeah, Spags does an excellent job of creating matchups and getting him in situations where he's going to be single blocked in certain situations, and Chris Jones takes advantage of it. He is, between Chris Jones, T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, those are the top three guys in the league, and there are some others. But you talk about Bosa. But I like that damn Chris Jones.
We like Chris Jones too.
Yeah.
As you can see, we love Chris Jones over here.
Yeah.
When it comes to some of the rule changes happening in the NFL, they're making it.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't like them.
How would that have affected your game? Obviously, you play the 80s, the 90s, a much more physical era. But now you can hardly touch the quarterback, and it's a flag. How much added pressure does that put on a pass rusher?
Well, we cannot be so consumed by making a mistake and hitting the quarterback under those current rules and those current circumstances. You just got to do your job. We understand the two-step rule. We understand you can't hit the quarterback above the neck.
Yeah.
You can't hit him below the knees.
Yep.
Or below the waist.
Yep. You got about a foot right here.
You're trying to swat the ball and you accidentally hit him in the helmet. You're getting a personal foul.
Right.
You get to him clean, but you fall on top of him.
Right.
You're going to get a flag.
Or you pushed into him by the offensive line.
Yeah, you got to these big guys coming 300 pounds are trying to twist themselves in midair to not let it just doesn't seem fair to me.
Yeah. Well, life isn't fair, number one.
That's for sure.
Number two, this is a offensive-minded game. The league wants to see points scored, and they want to protect their princes. And the princes are the quarterbacks. They do not want you sidelining. They do not want you sidelining their bread and butter, because people go to games because they want to see the quarterback throw the ball.
The NFL would be terrified of you today. The NFL would be sitting here, okay, we have to do something. We can't let Bruce keep doing this.
Yeah, well, between myself and Reggie White, they would be terrified.
So we got to let you go, but who do you got on Sunday? You got a final score prediction for us?
Man, I can never count Patrick out. He's just that good. And I can't count Travis Kelce out, Spags. So I can't make a prediction. Having said that, if the 49ers don't contain Travis Kelce, they're going to lose. Having said that, if they have a great game plan and they can limit Kelce to making a number of big plays, if they can limit that, I think the 49ers are going to come out on top because of all of the weapons that they have on offense.
They sure do.
And if those pass rushers on the 49ers start getting to, because that's how you beat, that's how you're going to beat them. If the 49ers pass rush get to Patrick Mahomes, it'll be the 49ers.
It's going to be a fascinating game. M&M's,
M&Ms.
the historic, the Hall of
The
Famer.
legendary
Peanut butter
Bruce Smith.
M&Ms.
These are my favorite. I already had
Peanut butter M&Ms.
This was my
The best
breakfast
one.
today, Bruce. This is
mine
my
too.
breakfast.
Yeah.
M&M's almost champion Super Bowl 58 campaign. Make sure to check out more at the website mms.com/Super Bowl to see the ad. Look at that right there.
Yeah.
Look at you guys.
It's pretty cool. And
Boom.
you actually, if you go on the website, they have a competition where you can win one of these sweatsuits.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I love a champion.
If you want to
hat
win
as
one of
well.
those sweatsuits, you know where to go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Bruce, it's been
All
an
right.
honor
Bruce.
to talk to you.
Hey,
Thank you for the
thanks,
insight.
man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. M&M's Hall of Famer legend, Bruce Smith.
These are actually phenomenal. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
These
I'm
are
gonna
really
I'm
good.
going to crack some open right now. I gotta be honest with you, Sterling. We've gotten to interview so many incredible people here. It's hard to get starstruck just because you're just like person after pro. It's Dan Marino. It's this person. That was that was surreal. Getting to interview Bruce Smith, man. I'm just like beside myself right now. I feel a little bit like I did when I got to interview Joe. This is a guy I grew up watching, you know?
Yeah, it's literally unreal. I mean, let's be real now. There's a reason why he is the all-time sack leader. Now 100, now 150, 200. I mean, it's actually absurd, and I do think it'd be something where Goodell would be terrified. I mean, imagine Goodell just seeing, okay, we're trying to protect our quarterbacks, and this guy has gotten here 200 times.
He's unbelievable. I mean, go back and watch the clips. If you were a younger person of Bruce, I mean, and it was so cool to hear him talk about Derek Thomas. You know, and the fact that they were friends, and hearing that guy talk about what could have been with Derek Thomas.
Yeah.
You know, if he was able to finish his career on his terms.
No, it's the glowing reviews from past legends in regards to Derek Thomas really puts into perspective what he meant, not just to Kansas City, but to the NFL as a whole. And again, not just the NFL, the legendary players of the NFL, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hearing these legends talk about a guy like that, you know, he's near and dear to our heart. And, you know, he wore 58. It's Super Bowl 58. Wouldn't it be cool if the Chiefs could take it home for DT, you know, and for Marty, the late, great Marty Schottenheimer? It would be fantastic. KCDC. What, do I look tired, KCDC? Is that what you're saying to me? Because I am.
Oh, we're at 600 right now in donations, guys.
Yeah, we got to stop. We got to stop
Wait,
talking
is that
about
true?
this.
Is that true, Richard? Are we at 600 donations? That was according to Flapjack City. Is he being true or is he being facetious? 585. Everyone, we are at 585. We are getting close, but we need your support. Okay, Michael Pittman Jr.
This is outrageous.
I was about to do something very outrageous, but I didn't do it. We'll have to ask him to throw some money down.
Okay. Hey, how's it going? Patrick.
How you doing?
How's it going, fellas?
All right. There's Michael joins
Doing
us.
well. We're at the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
We're on Radio
Yeah.
Row. We're having a great time.
Let's go.
How are you doing?
Good, good. So I'm actually here on behalf of He Gets Us, which is a faith-based company that is bringing people closer to Jesus, and they actually have a Super Bowl ad that's going to be playing in the first quarter. It's pretty cool, actually. So.
Awesome.
I think I've seen some of these commercials during NFL games before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. I would like, I don't get this. I know you hear this kind of crap all the time, but I don't ever get the opportunity to do it. You took my fantasy team to the Super Bowl this year. I didn't get it done, but I just wanted to thank you for all you did for my team, Chase Jam. Jamar Chase also chatted with him earlier. You were fantastic this year.
Thank you. You know, that's something that I kind of take pride in too, just like because like I actually like hearing people say that because like no one wants to hear like, oh yeah, like oh yeah, like just like you sucked like this year, like you like killed my team. So,
Right.
So like it's really good like hearing the opposite of that. So thank you.
Oh, you were so consistent all year
Thank you.
long. What do you think went into that? Obviously, you had the quarterback stuff going on. You had a change. You got Gardner Minshew coming in. How did you maintain your level of consistency throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean it's really a team thing. I feel like Shane had confidence like in me week in and week out. It didn't matter like who it was or like just like what team or like what defense. He always was trying to get me the ball, and then Gardner too, like just like trusting me, and really I think just those two things is what led to me being able to put up consistent numbers.
You took a really scary hit there late in the season. Really, really scary. How are you doing? Do you remember that whole thing? I mean, it's a dangerous game, we know, but you never want to see somebody take something like that.
Yeah, so I've watched it a bunch, and I remember it, but it's weird because it almost feels like an out-of-body experience now because I've seen it like so many times. So I'm like, do I remember it or have I just seen it a bunch? But I can walk you through it. So I had a crossing route, and I remember running, and I'm like, I'm about to be wide open. And I see the pass, and it's kind of out in front of me. So, like, I dive, and I caught it, right? So like, I'm thinking, hey, like, I'm about to land and get up. And then all of a sudden, I wake up, and, like, there's people looking down at me, and I'm like, what just happened? And everybody is trying to get me to like stay down, and like I'm like no, like how am I getting up right now? And then that's just when I walked out the field, and then then the game like kept going. So
and you recovered okay. You're feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well that's good.
I know you're really popular with those game day vlogs as well. How did that start? What was the idea behind this?
So it was my wife's idea back in college, and it's funny because I never thought people would actually be interested in seeing what we just do, like our day-to-day life, because like I just think like I'm not that interesting. Like just like who wants to watch me do my daily stuff, right? and we posted a couple videos, and it just caught fire, and then it led us into my NFL career. And lately we haven't been like as consistent because we actually have 2 kids now, and we have a farm. So we're pretty much busy between football, kids, and farming. There's not a lot of extra time to make videos anymore.
Animal farm?
Yes.
Corn?
So we farm. So we're going to farm hay, but we have cows and we have horses. We got goats. We have lots of chickens. And we have in alpaca, and we just hatched our first emu 2 days ago.
All right, let's move that farm to Kansas City, and you open up a petting zoo.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
So my daughter is 2, and my son is 8 months old.
You had an 8 months. Okay, so my wife is 6 months pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old. We're having our first baby boy. You have any advice for me? Because in in a few months here, I'm going to be in the thick of it.
I would just 2 things. There's this crib thing. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Like it like rocks your baby to sleep. It's snoo. It's the snoo.
Snoo.
So you gotta get that, and then just be ready for when your kids pick your wife over you in every situation. Sometimes it kind of hurts, because like it's like come here, like it's like no, like, and like I'm like all right, fine, you know what I'm saying? Like, So just like be ready like for those.
You can't blame them though. Right? It's mom.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, like she is much better than me, and she like looks a lot better too. Like so, like they're probably looking at me and looking at her. They're probably like, like I'll go with her.
She's got the free food too. So, you know what I mean? What good are we? We're the diaper changers, right?
Exactly.
I'm excited. I appreciate the advice.
Where's your excitement level heading into next season? You saw a taste. You got a little taste of Anthony Richardson and what he brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to have a full season with him. What are expectations? What are you looking forward to playing with a guy who's as dynamic as Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, I mean, you just see what he can do. Like, there's not anything that he can't do. And I really think early on, the strongest part of his game is going to be the RPO game, because Shane really dials that up. And it's just with him, Jonathan, and all of our pass catchers, I mean, like, it's just going to be like hard to stop. And one facet like of his game that we didn't necessarily get to see because he got hurt week 3 is his ability to extend plays and make those downfield throws. So once we really get into that, I mean, because he can throw off his back foot like 70 yards. So as soon as he starts running like left and right, like I'm going straight deep, and I expect to have a lot of yards like just off of like scramble drill. So
you guys have a really, like, I think a kind of loaded offense emerging. I mean, you know, you had some injuries this year, obviously with the quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, but I mean, he's an explosive, scary back.
Absolutely.
They've got you, of course. You guys got some young tight ends coming along. Do you guys think you're going to take the leap next year?
Yeah, I mean, you saw flashes this year. It's just, and even in that last game, now we didn't execute it, but that play was there, and that could have led to anything. I thought it was a great call, and we just got to execute it better. You know, like just like there's things that both sides could do. Like I was setting like that pick, like maybe I could have set like just like a better pick, but actually I wasn't setting a pick.
No, it was not a pick.
So that was actually a route, but
as a clean route.
yeah. So yeah, like you see flashes, and I think when Anthony gets a full season, like you'll really see like our offense bloom.
What makes Shane Steichen such a good play caller in your eyes?
He's just so creative with all of his motions and all of his plays and just different looks to get at the same play. So like we're not overly complicated to where we have a million plays, but we have so many different looks that like defenses can't really predict it. And just his like creativity and using players to their strengths. You've seen that like just like with Alec Pierce Alec is really good at going deep. Like just like he's a really talented deep ball catcher. And then like you see Josh who really works that inside, like just like those juke routes, and like just like being able to put players like in position to be successful is really what he does well.
I know you've gone against the Kansas City Chiefs one time in your career.
Yep.
You've actually had a pretty good game. Eight catches, 9 targets, 72 yards. Obviously, that was in 2022.
Yes.
So a few different faces here, but obviously some of the same guys here. As they play in this Super Bowl, what are the challenges going up against those guys? And obviously Steve Spagnuolo, who's a little bit of a mad scientist back there as well as a DC.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs or the Chiefs as a whole, like just like obviously like you think of the Chiefs, like you think Pat, right? You think Pat, like you think Travis. So those are really, to me, the two driving factors. Maybe not like of their team, but like of their offense, like for sure. So and like their defense is good. Like just like they got like a bunch of like great players too. Like their like D line is great. Like they got cornerbacks. But I mean it's like a heavyweight matchup, you know, just like the 49ers are stacked too. And
you also had a good game against the 49ers the one time you played them. Do you know your line?
Yeah. All I remember that it was the bomb cyclone and it was 100 and something yards.
105 yards and a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
So who do you think has the edge in this one? You mentioned it's a heavyweight fight. 49ers have playmakers all over the offense. Chiefs have a really good defense. They got Mahomes, they got Andy Reid and Kelsey.
Yeah.
Who's got the edge for you?
I really hate doing this, but I think the 49ers have the edge. But it's so hard to bet against Pat. Pat's such a great quarterback, and he can do so many things. But if I had to give someone the edge, like on paper, the 49ers, I think, are the most complete team.
Okay. When you were growing up, who were the wide receivers that you looked up to? Is there anybody you modeled your game after?
So growing up, I actually thought I was going to play defense. So I used to be Brian Dawkins, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, like just like those type of guys. And then when I got a little bit older, Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Matthews, I wanted to go to LSU so bad. I mean, I was heartbroken, like just like when like they didn't even offer me.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Okay.
Well, why did you want to be a defensive player so bad? What made the change to wide receiver?
So the change was actually made by my USC coaches. So they told me that I could play both ways. And then when I got there, like they're like psych, just like we lied to you to like get you here. And then I played receiver because that was before the whole transfer portal thing. So like if you wanted to transfer, you're gonna sit here.
Yeah.
So like I was like, well, let me just see what it's about. And I'm telling you, for the first month, I felt so terrible. I'm like in a room full of like legit wideouts, like Juju, Deontay Burnett, Steven Mitchell. I came in with like Tyler Vaughns and a bunch of other wideouts like who like were polished. And I felt so trash, like just like in that room with them. Yeah. But then I got better and better and better and worked harder and harder, and it all worked out.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to play defense? You want to? I don't know, man. I'm team wide receiver, catch the touchdowns, baby.
Yeah. Just like at that point, like in my football career, like I just felt like the best part of my game was like knocking people down. So
yeah. Now your dad played in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
How did he won a Super Bowl with the Bucks?
Yeah.
How did his experience help you in your career?
Yeah. So it's funny because growing up like in a football family, because I was born into his NFL days, like. I thought everybody's dad played like
in the
NFL, right? So,
yeah.
So like I didn't really appreciate the fact that he played 11 years until I got into like high school, when I really started to figure out, hey, like football is hard, not everybody makes it, right?
Yeah.
And like right then and there, like I was like, wow, like this dude is pretty cool,
Yeah.
and just having his guidance throughout high school leading all the way up until now still, because I've never gone through this free agency thing and he's done it a couple times, so just being able to lean on him, he's helped me tremendously, and I can't thank him enough for what he's done for me.
Super serious question here. As a man with a mustache to another dude with a mustache, Gardner Minshew, what is he actually like? Because he has this whole persona of like wild Florida man. Like if he wrestled a gator, I would not be surprised. Is that really how he is, or is he more reserved?
He is a combination of that, but something that may not be portrayed as much. He's very intelligent. He's a very intelligent guy. He's a very strong thinker, and like he's as cool as they come, right? I mean, he's doing sun yoga before practice. I mean, he's walking around like with his shirt off, So like he's like a cool guy, and he does a lot of things, but he's always fired up.
Yeah. You just described me in my normal day, just like doing yoga, shirt off.
There you go,
just vibing, baby.
We know you got to get out of here, so tell us one more time about He Gets It and the work that you're doing with them.
Yes, so He Gets Us is a faith-based organization that's bringing people closer to Jesus, and basically what I'm here for is just sharing my own personal experience with people, and just trying to shine a light on how Jesus has like affected me and kind of changed my life and my like whole like football journey. So they're like doing like a couple of great things, and they actually have a Super Bowl ad that's going to play in the first quarter, and then they also have another one that's going to play later on. So be on the lookout for that. It is a pretty good one.
All right, be on the lookout for that. Michael Pittman Jr., that fantasy team I told you about is Keeper League. So
keep me for sure.
Keep me
for sure.
I
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, man.
Thank you, guys.
Take it easy. Also, He Gets Us is going to be doing an amazing community event just off the Strip, serving nearly 1,000 of Las Vegas's most vulnerable population on Saturday. So really cool event they're doing, giving back and helping the community. Patrick, this is fun, baby.
We did it, man.
We did it. All right, what are we at? Before we wrap, what number are we at? We're almost at $700, people.
Well,
Flapjack City, dude, you're the GOAT. Just dropped $100.
I'm saved by the bell here.
It's not,
because this is the end of the show.
No. We need another day. We still have one more day down here. Yeah, so we still have a chance to make the $1,000, dude.
Are we doing Arrowhead Addict tomorrow?
We are, dude. So
son of a bitch.
Everyone, come here. Bring that camera to me. Bring the camera to me. I can't get any closer. Pretend I'm singing Sarah McLachlan behind you in the arms of an angel. Every single dollar counts. All we need is your support, and Patrick will get a tattoo. That's all we need.
Don't do it.
It's all in the arms of an angel. Now, I can't promise you we'll give you like a T-shirt or anything like that.
It was a flippant remark.
But it'll be a great tattoo, and you'll get to
deprived.
see it.
I wasn't thinking
Thank
things
you for
through.
your support. Thank you. We're at 685 now. Thank you. Thank you, Flapjack City. That was awesome. You gave $100. Again, we'll be doing a little Arrowhead Addict get-together if you are here in Vegas. We're at 5 o'clock in the Mandalay Bay lobby. So we'll see you guys there. Anyone who is in Vegas, well, stop by, say hi. We'll have a little bit of fun. Until next time, we are out.
Go Chiefs.